Ezekiel 36.
Yep.
So, hey, brother, get Psalms, it's the second chapter.
Okay. I need to leave.
You running?
Yeah,
It says we're on. Just checking that. Yeah, I'll just get it off there.
Yeah. I gotta get changed though.
What?
Oh yeah, you're right. That was my brain was working.
Yeah, look, so this video does become available on this eldest channel.
Yeah, because I done it from his page anyway, so I don't know why it says that. Because every time we start it up, it says video not available on your channel. On his is fine, but yours is for some
Shadow
reason.
ban.
But it's there. I downloaded it from your channel anyway, so I don't understand what's going on. Yeah. Anyway,
Right. Call halal Yahweh.
Ba'Shem Yahushai, B'Shem HaKadosh.
Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. And honors to you brothers out there in the highways and the byways, teaching this word in all sincerity and in truth. And we're out here again to give glory unto Yahweh, Yahushai, man, and to their word. Right? Because the word of the Lord, the counsel of the Lord comes to pass. Regardless of what, these heathens, beginning with Esau, Edom, they try and be slick. They try and do this, they try and do that to bring about their own conclusions. One thing we do know is the Lord's conclusion is what's going to come to pass. And Nebuchadnezzar already learned this lesson, but these Edomites are moving like they never read the book of Daniel. Yeah, because Nebuchadnezzar thought that he was the one, not realizing that everything that the rise of the Babylonian Empire, yeah, they were worshiping idols. Yeah, their man might sit in a council and say, do this, do that, yeah. But guess what? It's ultimately the Lord that was in control of all of that.
Right.
Yeah, and the Lord showed Nebuchadnezzar, even, I don't know if you want to get it, he showed him even more so that I'm even in control of you, to the point where the Lord made man, turned man into an animal and had man like bugged out, just to show him, listen, man, I run things. And that's still the same to this day. Even these elites, with all their high level witchcraft and their psychological operations, and they want to do this and they want to do that. But guess what? The Lord controls the elites, and they don't even understand that even them, the Lord is still in control. And so they got their plans and what they think they want to do and the outcomes they think they're going to achieve. But ultimately, it's the Lord's outcomes that's going to come to pass. You got that?
I got this part. I'm trying to find the part where he made him grazes.
Yeah, but that part's good as well.
Yeah.
Get that as well.
It's Daniel chapter 4, verse 17. So this matter is by the decree of the watchers and the demand by the word of the holy ones, to the intent that the living may know that the Most High ruleth in the kingdom of men.
The Heavenly Father rules in the kingdom of men. Everything that's ever happened, everything that happens throughout all history today and in the future, ultimately is by the word of the Heavenly Father. The Lord is always in control. There's never a time when the Lord has not been in control.
Oh, here we go.
Even these wicked elites, they think they are in control. They think, oh yeah, we worked out this witchcraft and we do this and we'll set up this puppet over here and do that and then order Abkeo and we're going to achieve this and
we're going to manipulate it the way we want to be.
Nah, you're only going to do what the Lord wants you to do to fulfill his will. Okay?
Yep. Sirach, got it wrong order. Sirach 18 and 3. It says, who governeth the world with the palm of his hand, and all things obey his will. He is the king of all, by his power dividing holy things among them from profane.
So all things obey his will, right? Whether you're knowingly aware of it or not.
Yep, like Pharaoh. Pharaoh was doing what he was meant to be doing on the left-hand side to fulfill the Lord's purpose. And it's the same thing with Esau, Edom, even onto their elites. Like, I'll give you an example, the MOTB. Now, that's in their mind to do that.
Yep.
And they have their reason for doing that. Their reason for doing that is they want control, they want a new world order, and they want to do their thing. But really, it's the Lord that's put it in them to do that, to fulfill his word. And the same thing goes with World War III. These nations, they got their ideology about what the outcome is going to be and how they're going to do things. But really, what they don't understand is the Lord is the one that's going to be in control of all that. And it's going to end in the destruction of America and the coming of our Lord and all you nations being put down. That's how it ends. But if you ask the elites, they're gonna give you a different answer. Or you ask this, oh yeah, if we do, we're gonna control this and do that. So no, man. At the end of the day, everything is in the Lord's control, and that's why we put full faith and trust in the Lord and His word, because everything He says in here is what's going to come to pass, and it don't matter how wise a man thinks he is. That's just arrogance. The arrogance of man is that he is in control. That's arrogance. No, we know better. We know the Lord will.
We know pride is a downfall, man.
That's it.
That's what we do, though.
Because you see these elites, they're doing these things that's leading to their own destruction. That's pride. Yeah, because we can do this and do that, and don't worry, we're gonna keep it all under control. But it's not gonna be under control, because really it's the Lord that's in control. That's what you need to understand.
Yep. Just in the same way, it was there, the people in Babel, when they're building the towers, in their mindset was to defy the Most High and His judgments. The same way Esau looking to confront the Most High and His power and His prophecy. Yeah. It's hubris, man. And what did the Lord do? The Lord scattered them back then, and the Lord's going to destroy them right now. The flood happened before, right? Yeah. And now we're going to get that second judgment of fire.
And they thought they were smart back then too.
Yeah.
It's always the case. Man think they're smart, think they can outsmart the Lord, think they got things on the cook. Nah, you're going to get cooked.
And I was thinking about this the other day, right? Because obviously man lived longer back then too, right? Imagine how much knowledge you can acquire over hundreds of years, as opposed to having a short lifespan, only developing over 50 years of this intelligence that you're supposed to have, right? The man was on a different level, man. They had to have been that time and just developing knowledge. They must have thought they were godly, like the same way Esau believes he is today.
Yeah, he's on a God level, because a lot of his shit works, but it's only working because the Lord allows it to work for the purposes of fulfilling His word.
That's right,
and everything that needs to come to pass. Right? So don't be disheartened. Everything is happening according to plan.
Another precept before I go back to Daniel. This is Isaiah 55, verse 11. So shall my word be that goeth forth out of my mouth. It shall not return unto me void, but it shall accomplish that which I please, and it shall prosper in the thing whereto I sent it.
It's like the elders always, I remember Elder Gabar brought out, I think it was I forgot which book it was, where the elites created the nukes, and they were like, well, we're just going to use the nukes to scare the world into the New World Order. No. That's not what's going to happen, though. Them nukes are going to get used. We know this.
Yeah.
They're going to get used for the destruction mainly of America.
Sure.
Now, that might not be their plan. They had other plans. But the Lord don't care about what your plans are. He made you create the weapons of your own destruction.
But said, I created the smith that built the coals in the fire. The Lord did that. He made you get the ideas to do these atomics, splitting and all this shit. He made you do that.
You've been deceived. Even your demon buddies that you're conversing with, they're deceiving you. Because the demons on the left-hand side, they work for the Most High anyway.
This is Ezekiel 38 from 10. It says, thus saith the Lord power, it shall also come to pass that at the same time shall things come into thy mind, and thou shalt think an evil thought.
How's it going to get there?
Yeah.
How's that evil thought going to get there? Because where does thought come from?
It's the Lord. The Lord is going to put the spirit. While they're trying to control this Zionist Islamic thing to bring in their New World Order, it's going to get out of control. It's going to have results that they didn't foresee. Because the Lord's going to put the spirit on certain people to just wild out.
This is not unexpected parameters.
And then they're going to find themselves in a sticky situation, man. And they're going to be wondering how they got there. Well, it's very simple. The Heavenly Father's in control.
And that's why Scripture also speaks about they are worried in the multitude of thy counsel. Because you're going to be trying to figure out how to kind of navigate this, and you ain't going to be able to, man. Just like the Egyptians, they were trying to figure out a way to stop the plagues. Couldn't.
It's going to go down.
Yep.
Goes on to say, and thou shalt say, I'll go up to the land of unruled villages. I'll go to them that are at rest, that dwell safely, all of them dwelling without walls and having neither bars nor gates.
America,
yeah. America believes they're safe, man, but they don't think no one can touch them.
Yeah,
what part of it is like the the propaganda machine that they have, whether it be Hollywood, that's a major part. I forget exactly the rules, but it's like if a film wants to use US military assets, like the US has to win in that film and something like that,
because they can't be seen as weak or vulnerable.
Yeah, but they're going to lose, man. And then this is the thing. They tell you, oh well, if Russia uses the nukes against America, America's gonna, and it's gonna be mutually assured, and the whole world is, well, actually no, the whole world ain't gonna be destroyed, just America. Don't worry about the rest of the world. We're gonna clean that up. This is the angels and that gonna clean that up. That's gonna be fine. America's gonna be a fire, the lake of fire, because that's the will of the Lord.
Yeah, and if I could add as well, that's why when you look at like the story and the reporting around Ukraine, right, the Western media makes it sound like Russia's been struggling and this, that, and the other, because that puts the minds in these people in the West that, yeah, if it did ever come to that, we'll just wipe out the Russians because they couldn't even beat Ukraine. So how about the mighty America, which is, you know, that little stunt that they pulled, right? The way that they advertised it anyway was a feat of like.
Well, but you know why? Because America's used to fighting wars where they don't get touched.
Find the little guy.
Like, yeah, some no-name dude that no one cares about might go over there and get killed. Like, but in terms of them, they don't have to face war at home.
Or someone of equal, similar level. They, Vietnam or Afghanistan.
Yeah.
They man are just dropping
But
bombs.
they just sent a bunch of Negroes to. They sent a bunch of Negroes and low-level Edomites over there, and then couple thousands of them died. But I mean, people at home didn't know there was a war. If you were to not watch the news and maybe you weren't getting a letter from your uncle, you wouldn't know there was a war. Meanwhile, over in Vietnam, them man are getting napalmed, or they knew. Listen, they man knew there was a war. It's just like Iraq. The Iraqis knew there was a war going on because buildings are blowing up around them, markets, rifle shot. Yeah,
you were safe in America.
In America, you wouldn't even know there was a war.
And you wouldn't even expect no retaliation. This is why you're known as the virgin daughter of Babylon. You've never been touched.
You've never been touched.
Because you've never had no foreign entity come into your land to fight you, man.
Yeah,
it's not happened. You've gone around to everywhere else and invaded others and destroyed them.
The whole earth.
That's right.
But this time it's gonna come home. The chickens are gonna come home to roost.
Yeah,
in perfection.
Isaiah 47 from 7 says, "And thou sayest, I shall be a lady forever, so that thou didst not lay these things to heart."
And really, this is what it comes down to. You see, they're trying to shift the narrative. That's why you got to stick to the prophets, man. Because we're not gonna let the narrative get shifted. Yeah, like now they want to shift the narrative, and blame everything on the state of Israel. Everything is not to be blamed on the state of Israel, right? The Edomites, right, are going to pay. America's guilty. Britain is guilty. Them damn Israeli, which is a colony of America, they're all guilty, and they've all been in on it. They all been in on everything that's going on. You know what I mean? But now they want to shift everything over there so that everything's like contained. When the reality is, man, it's everywhere. It's a whole big, massive cabal that they're all part of, man. That existed before 1948. Right?
That's why it's not got established in the first place.
That's how it got established in the first place, man. And their goal isn't just Zionism. That's just one of the tools that they're using at this moment to manipulate world events. Their goal is the New World Order, which is a global order, which is a global control and enslavement over everyone. And they use these things to try and achieve that. You understand? You understand what I'm saying? But they're trying to shift things. But let's bring it back to where it really belongs, man. You nations, beginning with the so-called white man, you violated the true children of Israel. The real children. And yes, there is a chosen people. There's a chosen people by the Most High. It might not be those people, but there is a chosen people. And America is going to suffer for what they did. Obviously, these right wingers that all of a sudden pop up and want to be against this and against that, and they stand for righteousness. Well, if they really stood for righteousness, that's what they would be saying. But notice the plight of the Negro, and no one care about that. They care about the Palestinians. They care about all this, what's going on. America, we need to save America. How about save the so-called Negroes, Hispanics, and Native American Indians? We're the ones that actually need saving, and that's why you gotta come to the prophets, because we're linked in with the Savior of Israel.
Can I read Ezekiel 35?
Yeah, go on.
It's Ezekiel 35. I'm going to start from the top, right? So more of the word of the Lord came unto me, saying, Son of man, set thy face against Mount Seir and prophesy against it. And say unto it, Thus saith the Lord God Yahweh, Behold, O Mount Seir, I am against thee, and I will stretch out my hand against thee, and will make thee most desolate. I will lay thy cities waste, and thou shalt be desolate, and thou shalt know that I am the Lord Yahweh. Because thou hast had a perpetual hatred, and hast shed the blood of the children of Israel.
Is it just see what they're trying to do, Is it just the Edomite that calls himself a so-called Jew that's responsible for everything? No. These other Edomites have been right there enjoying themselves and doing what they're doing. But you see, if you let them tell the story now, they're going to, okay, well, it's just these ones over there with the hats on. No, it's not just them. They weren't the ones all doing the lynchings.
They financed it.
They're the heads. They're the heads of it. But you man are equally as guilty. you're completely compromised in this thing,
sir.
and that's why you're gonna be destroyed. You're going down, and America's gonna be destroyed. There ain't no saving. Even if Trump and more all these Republicans that want to be anti this and anti that, you're all guilty in the eyes of the Lord.
Yep.
Even though I know that they're all still juiced in, they're all part of the paradigms, right? The fact of the matter is, yeah, because of what you did to the so-called Negroes, Hispanics, and never Indians, it's inevitable that great judgment and death is coming to you.
Yep.
It's coming to you. It's coming to the small hats. It's coming to the world because of what you did to the people of the Lord, man.
Because what nation have not had a hand in their spoils?
Yeah, like them Palestinians. Well, first, I'm glad you said the hand of their spoils. Because when you go into Ezekiel 36, it says that what? These other nations have swallowed the land up round about. That's how we see. You got all these pro-Palestinian guys, and that's fine. Listen, it's commendable. You could be a human. You could be a humanitarian if you want, but we're not humanitarians. Like, we don't believe in human rights, right? So we got to speak it like it is. Just because these Palestinians and these various heathens were living in that land, like slapping naan bread on hot stones and all them kind of things and grinding up hummus. I don't care if they were there for 100 years, 200 years, 300 years. Can we get the earth, the Lord, the earth is the Lord's and the fullness thereof. I don't care how long they've been living there. Is the gutter rat? Oh, yeah, sure, I shouldn't use that term. Is the JOO the false of were they right to go in there and kill these people? No, they're not in the right. But you Palestinians are not in the right either, because you know why? You're idolaters, right? You worship idols, right? And you possess the land of the children of Israel, which don't belong to you by divine decree. Now, you can laugh because of them guys. Oh, they say they're the chosen people. No. You start laughing and joking. But actually, there is a chosen people, and that land does belong to them.
I heard he even say it before. They don't believe the Most High is the real estate thingy or whatever. But he is. It's the earth. We're about to read it. We're about to read it.
You can make mockery of them JOOs. Listen, by all means, I'll join you. But don't ever try overstep the thing and forget this one thing, that the Lord made an oath unto our forefather Abraham.
And that land is Israel.
And that land does belong to the real, it might not them guys,
Not them.
the real Israelites. And that's what's going to happen.
So you're gonna have to move out eventually. You know.
Yeah, so you could wave the flags and protest. That's all good. Listen, it's commendable. You want to be a humanitarian.
Your rent's overdue. You know what I'm saying? You owe us, man.
But really, the reason why them Israelis is putting hell on you is because you don't belong there either.
Yeah.
They're like,
that's why it can happen.
That's why it's happening to you. Because if you're in that holy land and you're, for one, a heathen, and for two, you're not keeping the laws, the land's going to be in the process of spewing you out anyway. So the Lord is sending them Israelis like lions to bring judgment on you. And guess what? The Lord's using them to do the same thing to the Israelis. So they're all just catching hell. And the reason they're all catching hell in that land is because it don't belong to them.
Again, like the what was it? The Syrians in the land. I think it was the Syrians. You know, where they're being attacked by lions. You know, because the king tried to move the heathen in there.
They don't belong there. A bunch of Cushites in there.
Yeah. Okay.
And none of these men are keeping the laws. So you know that they're gonna catch hell over there, 100%.
Yep.
So we're not gonna get drawn into this Palestine versus Israel, Palestine good, Israel bad. No. Our thing is we represent for the true nation of Israel, the Israelites, and our cause, and not the cause of these heathens, because really they don't really have a cause. That land don't belong to them either.
And this is the thing, you Palestinians got your own home that the Most High given you, man. So that's where you're gonna go back to.
And we're gonna put you there after you suffer. And you're gonna want to go back there because it's too much pain trying to retain that land. And the same thing is gonna go for these guys they implanted in the land in 1948. In fact, a lot of them are already saying it's too much pain. And they're trying to fly out here to Golders Green and all them things to New York and go, because they're tired of the missiles and the sirens.
Yeah, I mean, as you would. I mean, this is so. When you look at a lot of the immigration crisis, I always remember RT when they destroyed Gaddafi. One of the things RT said near that time was you're going to end up with a migrant crisis because obviously the country's going to be ruined.
People don't want to live in war.
So then imagine someone who's got dual citizenship.
Yeah, they're fleeing.
They're
fleeing.
No
And
paper,
the thing is, if you understand what the state of Israel is, it's not really a country. It needs more land and more people to actually become a real country. It's a colony. It can't survive by itself. It's really still a colony, you know.
That's why America's paid so much
That's
money.
why they paid money into it, and all that money really goes to the military-industrial complex. It doesn't go to the healthcare or the education. So that's why they're always rioting over there anyway, because they ain't even living good over there in the state of Israel. It's not like they're living fat off the money of America. No, that money's going straight. The APAC money, APAC and all that is linked in with the military-industrial complex. You go back to Ben Gurion and these agents, they were set up to create a secular military state in the Middle East, and that's all it is. It's just a militarized colony. The only thing it's got more than anything is weapons. But in terms of being a country that's for the people and healthcare and all, they ain't got all that. They ain't got all that.
They got the military starter pack, man.
Otherwise,
they had everything.
otherwise, all that money coming to America would also go to education, also go to healthcare, and then man would be living good, and they wouldn't be rioting in the streets, would they? Why would they riot in the streets? Because they're suffering.
Can I grab this real quick?
Broke, working in Starbucks and that.
Points at the end. This is Joel 3:2 says, I will also gather all nations and will bring them down into the valley of Yehoshaphat and will plead them there for my people, for my heritage Israel, whom they have scattered among the nations and parted my land.
Right, the Lord is going to bring these nations into this war, right? And he's using these people to orchestrate it, right? But it's ultimately the Lord orchestrating it for the point that they can receive judgment for what they did to his people, which are the Israelites, which none of these alt-right puppets that's popped up that want to be truth tellers now, none of them are going to say that though. Oh, they got all the truth now. Oh yeah, they're telling everything on the JOO. But how about you tell the whole truth? Tucker Carlson knows. Why don't Tucker Carlson come out and say, oh, by the way, the real Israelites are actually these people over here? Do you know why? Because them men are still juiced in, and they still ain't gonna tell the truth. They're still manipulating. We're the only ones that's telling the 100% truth. We are the Israelites, and the land does indeed belong to us. Now we're gonna get ear care and rifle and go over there. No. We don't. Guess what? We actually have a true power, so we don't have to do none of that. The Lord is going to fight our battles for us. That's why we have a Messiah. But the fact remains, it's our land.
Yep.
So them Palestinians are gonna. They're more death is coming to them. If the best thing they could do is move to Zimbabwe or something.
This is Psalms 24:1. The earth is Yahweh's and the fullness thereof, the world and they that dwell therein.
That's it. The earth is the Lord's and the fullness thereof.
And it was the Lord that divided the nations.
Right.
So he get to tell where you're going to stay at.
Yes.
Right? Because even you might say, oh yeah, but you know, because we're saying that we were there before, it was our land, right? But you might say, oh yeah, but the Hamites were there.
Well, technically we was there. The Adam was there living in the land east, the garden eastward in Eden. But yeah, you know,
true say. But you know, you might make that argument, but that's not how things work, right?
No.
The Most High dedicated land to each nation that he created, right? And he gave that land to Israel.
Is that the part where it says that the Lord owns the land and you're just a sojourner? Or is that different? Is that a different part of the law? It might be a different part of the law. There's a scripture that basically says that. I don't know if it's attached to that scripture, but it's similar. Because basically the earth still belongs to the Lord. He's basically leases it out to people.
Yeah. I was about to say, Canaan was a temporary occupant of that land. Right, same way you Palestinians right now, and you small house, you're temporary occupants, man. But the land doesn't belong to you. The land belongs to our people, right? And so the Lord's gonna restore it to us, man. And you're gonna go back to your own lands that the Most High are given to you, man. And then all this fighting can stop, you know.
Oh, that's a good scripture. Exodus 19:5. Now therefore, if ye will obey my voice indeed and keep my covenant, then ye shall be a peculiar treasure unto me above all people. And that's another thing. Because obviously we know that, which by the way, do your research. The JOOs don't really believe in God. Like the Ben Gurion, the Zionist movement was a political and social movement. It was not a religious movement, right? It didn't become a religious movement and they didn't start using scripture until the Christian Zionism came about, when they had to try and justify what they were doing to the Christian populace. That's when they started, like this prophecy. No, Ben Gurion and that weren't coming with no prophecy. Ben Gurion and them were just saying, listen, we identify as Jews. A people called the Jews used to live over in that land. So maybe we should just go over there and set up a land for us. He was
because you almost went somewhere else.
They almost went somewhere else. So he ain't got
somewhere.
nothing. They don't. That's why in the declaration of the nation, right, they removed the talk of the Most High from in it. Because Israel is a secular state. It's not attached in any way to the covenant with. But now and again, they might say it because they need to say it to keep these Christian Zionists happy.
That's it.
Oh yeah, well, yeah, you know, we're the chosen people, and but they don't really believe in the actual. When you go into the records, they said they use the Bible more as a historical document to show that there was a people. So it will say David was in Ashdod. So they'll be like, see, so David was a Jew and he was in Ashdod. So this is our ancestral land. They don't use it in the way of, oh, Abraham, the God gave a covenant. Or no, because they don't believe in the God itself. They use the Bible as like it's a trick thing. You go into the records, it tells you that they didn't actually believe in the divine aspect of the land was promised to them by a God. Because these guys are demons, they're Satanists anyway. They believe in Satan when you really break it down. They're all witches and warlocks. They don't really believe in the God of the Bible. This is why the whole thing is a joke. But at the same time, there is a chosen people. The God of the Bible exists, and he has got a chosen people. But these people have basically made a mockery of that. And now the world wants to make the mockery of the idea. Well, you're going to find out you shouldn't be making a mockery of the idea. Make a mockery of them, but don't make the mockery of the idea because it's real. Yeah? It says, shall be a peculiar treasure unto me above all people. And then that's another thing. They say, oh, these people, they think they're better than because they're the chosen people. Well, if they were the chosen people, they would be better. But they're not. But guess what? We're the chosen people. And we are better than you other nations. And you're going to learn to accept that. You're not going to be in our kingdom making mockery. That man think they're better because no, we are better. We are better not because of ourselves, but because we were chosen to be better. We were chosen to be elite, chosen to be superior by the Heavenly Father. And who are you to say that that's not the case? Because you don't get to choose who is above and who is below. The Lord created man and put man on earth, so He determines the station and the order.
You don't even get to determine who's equal. You know what I mean? Man, I try to push the equality shit. Who told you can do that? Most I never set up no standard like that.
It says, for all the earth is mine. So all the earth belongs to the Lord, and He decided who gets what.
Yep.
Not the UN or Balfour or any of this. Yes, it's the Lord that says. So if the Lord said that land belongs to the seed of Abraham, it don't matter who's living there or when you were living there. You ain't living there longer than any. I don't care how long you lived there. The Lord was you living there when the Lord created it. Before you existed, the land existed because the Lord created the land before the people.
That's right.
So you ain't got no claim to this earth because you didn't. If you could create an earth for yourself, then you can say it's yours.
See, that's what man like to do. You know, man like to go somewhere. Oh, ain't no one here. Man, I put a flag in the ground. I said, hey, this belongs to me. Man, go up in the moon and put a flag on it and say, yeah,
but the Lord has to bless it. The Lord has to bless it. The Lord has to say, okay, yeah, that's yours.
Otherwise, you ain't gonna stay there.
Now the Lord did. We got divided nation.
Got that?
Yeah.
Deuteronomy 32, verse 8. Deuteronomy 32 and 8. When the Most High divided to the nations their inheritance, when He separated the sons of Adam.
So the Most High gave you what belongs to you, right? You can't have any more than what the Most High give you. You can't take things that don't belong to you. And this is what we're trying to say. The land don't belong to either of those people that are there right now fighting over it. It was never given to you by the Heavenly Father. Right? It's given to our people. But if you read the story, you understand why we're not in it. Right? But then you should also understand that the children of Israel are going to go back to it and reclaim it.
By the Messiah.
That's right.
Which they don't believe with them. They don't believe in. Why would they believe in the Messiah? They don't believe in God.
He set the bounds of the people according to the number of the children of Israel.
Right, so the focus point is Israel, the children of Israel, right? And everything is really built around that, right? That's why Israel got the best land. But guess what? It ain't the best land right now. It's desert, you know, with a few buildings in it. It's not lush like it's supposed to be because it's in the Fertile Crescent, right? It's not lush like that. The earth has been decaying anyway, but so things are not as good as they used to be anyway. But when the Israelites return, all that's supposed to be built back up, man, and be a joy of the earth, be Idan, be Eden, be a paradise. But that's not the state of Israel right now, because again, the people that are in it right now are not the people, so they're never going to do the land right because they're not keeping the laws in that land. So how's things meant to prosper in that land? They've got pink parades and all kinds of. They're defiling the land. Which speaks about the heathen defiled the land in their presence, or something to that effect. You know, we watched them do all kind of madness in it. worship idols, all kinds of things. How is that land going to be rebuilt back to its glory? Right? The land is still waiting for its chosen people. Right? And the scripture, I'll get in Baruch. The land is waiting for us.
Yeah.
You know?
Come on. It said, for the Lord's portion is his people. Jacob is the lot of his inheritance.
Right,
That's right.
The Lord's dealing with his people. Now, the Lord respected the lands that he gave to these heathens, and we respected it. So even when we came out of Egypt and we were on our way to Israel, we dealt with the nations with respect. Like, okay, if we're gonna take something from your land, we won't pay for it. That's there. And the Lord specifically told us, don't take any land from these nations that you're passing through, because you're supposed to respect the landmarks. The land that was ours is specifically the land of Canaan. It wasn't the land of Moab. Otherwise, we would have took Moab's land too. Even though Ammon tried to come after and tried to violate and tried to say we took some of their land, which was a lie. We didn't take their land. That land was the Canaanites' land. But they tried to put a fast one, so David had to head removal specialist that.
Because they lost the fight against the Canaanites, and so they thought that they had the right to that land when they weren't there no more.
Yeah, it wasn't
Because
there.
after we took it from them.
That
They
was
weren't
part
yours.
of the Canaan. That was the part of our borders, man. But there is a respect to people's landmarks and borders. But the point is, it's the Lord that decides who has what and what inheritance they receive. It's not man. Man don't arbitrarily tell themselves you own this or you own that. It's really the Lord's, and the Lord could do what He wants.
Going back to
Hey, respect for the Heavenly Father is gonna come back in a big way. Cause right now, all I see is disrespect. That's all I see from both sides, or from all sides. It's just disrespect and despising the word of the Heavenly Father, man. And it's not right. That's why His Son's gonna come back. But they're gonna have to respect power, man. They ain't gonna be picked up.
set the record straight.
Set it straight, man.
You done that, innit?
Yeah, done on that one.
Back in Ezekiel 35, it says, because thou hast had a perpetual hatred and hast shed the blood of the children of Israel by the force of the sword in the time of their calamity, in the time that their iniquity had an end. Therefore, as I live, saith the Lord God Yahweh, I will prepare thee unto blood, and blood shall pursue thee. If thou hast not hated blood, even blood shall pursue thee.
Yeah, what they're doing over there in Gaza ain't nothing compared to what they did to the Native American Indians. This has just been televised on TikTok. They already violated our people throughout all South. What you're seeing in Gaza in this last 2 years or whatever you want to say is a glimpse of what Esau Edom did throughout South Central and North America. The conquistadors and them, man. This is what they were doing with even more brutality, with even more barbarism. So they're going to have to pay for that. We ain't forgotten about that. And no one ain't going to stand up for that. And yes, that falls on Amalek, but that falls on the rest of these Edomites too, because they were all there together in coalition.
Yep.
In agreement.
Yep.
They're going to pay for what they did to Gad, man. Man want to forget all that. We ain't forgetting all that. To hell with some Palestinians. You're going to have to pay for what you did to Gad. You're going to have to pay for what you did to Reuben. How many times did the Gad go out and the man come back to the village and all the women and children and the elderly are dead and mutilated, man? You think that's all been forgotten about? Man?
This is what I find funny, man, because when these world things happen, man, the passage want your support. Oh, support us, brother. We're brothers with the white man, this and that. But where was our support? When we was in slavery, when Gad was getting persecuted, where was all the support? The whole world watched back and did fuck all, man. But now you want our energy. you want our
You ain't gonna get none from me.
You ain't.
Listen, we only here for our cause, man.
That's it.
For our cause only. The only rights we care about is Israel rights. Yeah, the rights of the true nation of Israel. And we're gonna bring once these men get decimated, we're gonna have to bring back that name to glory. Because right now, Amalek's made that name kind of mud in the earth, man. I don't like it. I don't like the way man are disrespecting the name of Israel in the earth right now because of these charlatans. They're committing fraud in our name, man. Committed madness in our name. It gets me vexed when I hear it. Like, wait, no, but they're not Israel, bro. Stop saying that. Rename that place, blood. Call it Edom or something, like how more rightly named Amalek, or call it Middle East America or something more fitting. Yeah, call it that.
So back in it's verse 8, it says, verse 7. Thus will I make Mount Seir desolate and cut off from him that passeth out and him that returneth. And I will fill his mountains with his slain men in thy hills and in thy valleys and on all thy rivers, shall they fall that are slain with the sword. I'll make thee perpetual desolations, and thy city shall not return, and ye shall know that I am the Lord Jehovah.
That's a lot of cities because America is like it's massive, and God's gonna bring great judgment on America, man. Because America is the land of hypocrisy, the land of lies, even to this day. All these men are liars. They're all secret societies. Like, they all even pretend that they're with the people and they're not with the people. It's all liars. That's why the scriptures speak about the congregation of the hypocrites. A hypocrite is an actor. These men will come out on the TV and they'll speak a good game, and they after they go in an orgy with the same man they're supposed to be against.
Yeah.
That's why everyone thinks that Trump and Biden hate each other. Them man are butt buddies, man. Them man are all 33-degree buddies, man. And what's their job? To work and destroy the people. And they're doing a great job. If you look at what Trump's done, he's bringing in the AI, destroying the economy further. Right? It's bringing in all the technologies that's part of the beast system. Right there in front of everyone's eyes, man. The first week he got in, AI straight, slap all kind of money into the AI.
Remember, because Silicon Valley was celebrating.
Yeah,
remember that?
Oh, they did a ritual. Remember the weekend? They were putting up rituals for when Trump coming. And all these guys, these alt-right guys now, which they're all set up. Now it's starting to look some people are starting to wake up that actually Trump is just one of them.
Yeah.
Now some of them are trying to back off. Bro, it's too late to back off, man. Anyone that knows anything knew that, Trump was an occultist. He was an agent, like. So if you were telling people to vote for him, you're an agent too. There's no way you wouldn't know that. I knew that. And then they went and had a special inauguration for him underneath in the Capitol building. I was watching. I watch everything. I see what these men are doing. They said it was too cold when in history they've done it colder outside. They usually have the inauguration outside. This time they did it indoor, specifically in that big witchcraft Freemason building underneath the apotheosis of George Washington in the rotunda. That's because that was a special inauguration. Trump was being initiated to perform a special task, and we see that. We see that everything's moving fast.
Quick, yeah.
And then who turned up to take part in the ritual? All of his enemies. Yeah, no. They weren't enemies that day. They were there, yes,
Celebrating him.
they were there celebrating and making sure that the ceremony went correct because they're all in on the same game. Witches and warlocks.
Trump is the demolition man. Yeah. He's gonna bring down America.
He's pushing the Maha. That man thought RFK Jr. was righteous because of his uncle. Bro, his uncle went off script and they killed him. That don't mean that even means more. That is even more that he's suspect.
He's in line.
He's in line.
Because him and his brother got shot.
Yeah,
killed, didn't it?
They went off script, and that don't mean they were good people.
And it's funny, man. How reputation can, a good name is important. That's why they can use it.
Yeah, he's a man of the people.
Yeah,
he's gonna make America healthy.
Again, straight lie though.
Then he starts pushing mRNA. Then he starts pushing the wearables, which literally, I'm sure how the witchcraft works. When they brought in Trump, they said, "Oh, see, the New World Order's finished. The globalists is finished," which wouldn't even make sense. But they're gonna have like a 200-year plan and just let this one Don come and just.
They think they got the head of the serpent in there.
Yeah, it don't make no sense. Like, so they're just gonna let one guy come in and just destroy what they've been planning for like 250 years. Does that make sense for you? But anyway, he's coming, and then shortly after, Klaus Schwab. Remember Klaus Schwab retired, right? Oh, see, they're defeated. But then you can see interviews with Klaus Schwab saying about the wearables, the wearables, the new world.
You think it's because he's not in the public space no more at the head of the organization that he don't have a say?
But guess what? It didn't even come from him. He's just a mouthpiece. It's bigger than him. So you could that's what they do. You could take the character off the stage, but it's not coming from what's on the stage. It's coming from behind the stage. So they got rid of him and and they all let their guard down. And then this guy is putting through exactly what Klaus Schwab said they wanted.
Well, it's like you know, make the analogy with the stage and that because the producers are still there.
They're still there.
You know, the writers are still there. The new actors have to come in, right? It's like when you watch to stay, you know, a theater in London or something. Yeah, you might watch it one time, go back next year, different cast, same play, same scenes, the acts, right? The same things, but different cast because the man can't do the same cast all the time. Man get tired and he break and thing, right? They'll get new guys in, or some might injure themselves or be sick, or they have to get new cast in, and that's what happens when you're voting. When you're voting for these different people, they're just changing the cast over. But the script is still there.
They're still gonna do what they're gonna do. And then you see man tweeting world leaders on Twitter, like that's how you communicate with other world leaders. Yeah, don't do this. It's like, brother, why don't you just phone him? You got his phone number. Why are you tweeting for the world to see? Because it's all a show. It's all a show to manage the people's what the people think and what when really what they're doing behind the scenes is a completely different thing. So they're definitely pushing this the MOTV is gonna come. And it's going to come fast. And Trump is in on it. He's been on it. Just like Biden was in on it. Elon Musk is in on it. They're all in on it. Bill Gates, Elon Musk, they're all in on it. Palantir, all that. It's all part of the game.
Alex Jones is in on it.
Yeah, he had a whole bunch of juggling to do.
Still juggling.
Still juggling, man. They must have got to Trump. No one ever got to no one, man. Trump was a TV personality from a long time. Man was bailed out by the Rothschilds years ago. Like these people have been in the game for a long time.
Yeah.
How do you think they actually get to the status that they're in? You don't get to these kind of status unless you're in the game, unless you're an initiate. That's not how the world works. Like I'm watching this guy, Andrew Tate, telling people about how you got to be smart. You think Andrew Tate got the money he got because he's just so smart? No, he's an agent. His dad's CIA. He was a TV personality. If you go back here, they had him on flipping reality TV back in the day. Him and his brother. He even tells you, yeah, my dad's CIA. Are you retarded? This guy, all that money he's got is CIA seed money to build up a character. And then he's going to sit here and tell you how to become like him. You're not going to become like him. He didn't make himself. He's a made man that's been given what he has in order to portray this identity. And now he's gonna talk down on you. Yeah, but if you wanna have a Bugatti, what? Yeah, maybe I should sell my soul. Maybe sell my soul to the CIA, yeah, and they can give me a role to play. Then I can easily get that money, can't I? Yeah. You think about these things, man. How do you make his money off web girls and all this? Yeah, that's easy for them kind of things. Is easy for the CIA to fund people. Because that money's coming from every Bitcoin. People are giving you Bitcoin. Who do you think created Bitcoin?
Exactly.
You think Bitcoin was created by some random dude in his bedroom that decided to know? Bitcoin was created by the secret service.
Same with Facebook. Same with all these programs and applications that we be using. You know. Oh yes, WhatsApp. We don't track. We don't encrypt. We don't.
Yeah. Which that one ends.
Technology that's in
backdoors everything.
Yeah.
So like most of that technology that's in the public sphere came from DARPA.
Yeah.
And behind the scenes, and then they give it to someone to push it out there, and they make it look like they have a story behind
grassroots.
Yeah, like Facebook and all that. Zuckerberg. Yeah. Oh yeah, they were in their bedroom and they just came up with this. And you believe all that shit. No, it's DARPA. When you check them guys' background, usually a family member or someone is linked in with the CIA or some other thing, and they just give a man a role to play with.
Microsoft.
Yeah. Microsoft. That stuff was created by DARPA and these guys behind, like Palantir.
Yeah.
Technology was given to them.
Yeah. They just need a public face for
They
it.
need a public face and to make it look genuine.
Yeah.
That this has just been developed and it's in the private sector.
Genuine as in trustworthy, right?
Yeah,
That's what we're trying to make it look like.
No, man. These people are set up. A lot of these guys come from rich covered families, and they like Elon Musk. His family literally was a technocratic cult that was juiced in to the secret societies. Oh no, he just worked hard, and that's why he's a billionaire. And they let him walk around calling himself.
And he loves the people.
Sure. Like, come on, man.
We have this trick. Psalm 64 verse 2 says, "Hide me from the secret counsel of the wicked." Secret counsels, the ones you don't see. People don't want to believe it because it sounds spooky, right? But there are such things. There's always things been going on, always through time. secret councils have always been going on, right?
Yeah, the Jesuit order, that's a high level order. And Jesuits, when you study about the Jesuits, you gotta understand that a Jesuit will become whatever they need to become to fulfill the will of the order. So if a Jesuit's got to be a Muslim, he'll be the Muslim of Muslims, but he's really a Jesuit.
A lot of these
The Catholics,
imams and
yeah,
you know what I mean?
they'll do what if they gotta be a Democrat, they'll be a Democrat. If they gotta be a Republican, they'll be a Republican. They'll put whatever mask on that's necessary, and that's how they're able to pull strings because they can infiltrate various organizations. The CIA, MI6, MI5, these are secret societies, man. These are occult secret societies. They're not just what they show you on James Bond and you think that's what it's all about. No,
And by definition, it fits that because what do you know about them? Nothing. You don't know nothing, and they can't tell you nothing.
no. And they work with witchcraft. MK Ultra, you go into the MK Ultra programming, right? MK Ultra, which they admitted to the people because they let the people know what they're doing to them, but then they said, "Oh, we shut down the program." Okay, when you really break down what MK Ultra is, it's no different to what the voodoo priest in Haiti does when they turn someone into a zombie. When they turn people into zombie, they use different forms of witchcraft. But the way witchcraft works is there's different forms of witchcraft, and you can line them up like cards and stack them up on top of people. So you got the pharmakia. So you got chemicals. You can use chemicals in witchcraft. You can use blood in witchcraft. You can use sigils and symbols in witchcraft. You can use writings, script witchcraft, right? Mantras, which is a sound. Now, and frequencies, all these things are used in witchcraft. And then if you put them all together, it makes the spell more powerful. So when you look at MK Ultra had symbols, they had frequencies, they were using chemicals on people, and they were also using trauma, sexual trauma, because sexual trauma is also part of witchcraft. Right? So they're witches. But you see, if you don't understand it, you just think, oh no, they're literally
Witches, yeah.
performing witchcraft. No different than a voodoo priest.
Yeah. But it's once again, it's like that thing of how Esau uses media, because when people think of witchcraft, they're just thinking of
Wooga
Sabrina, the teenage witch. Yeah, wooga booga. Oh, yeah, exactly. Mixing some and black cats and stuff like that. It's like, nah, there is yeah.
They're all witches and warlocks. They use numerology. They use gematria. They use all these different things.
In terms of numerology, that whole, which once again just proves it was all a thing, right? That whole thing with Iran and Israel, right? Israel attacks them on Friday the 13th,
Which is the
right?
Number of transition. The number of which represents transition is 13.
Yeah.
And also goes back to the Knights Templar.
Right.
They were high level witches and they were captured and killed on Friday the 13th.
Can.
In witchcraft.
Yep. And then I remember one article said that the bombing started at 3:30 in the morning. Yep. And then the next one was then what was it? America drops the bombs on the summer solstice. So it would have been the Sunday Iran time, but GMT it was still the 21st of June, right? So just going to show all of that was about
Listen. They'll tell you a little bit like Marie Blair, he came out and exposed, so they give you a little bit how they had she was doing the seances or whatever, the white light would come to her and she'd be dashing around in number 10 down the street, yeah? Right, they were having seances in the White House. I forgot which president it is that admitted that. Reagan had an actual astrologer which used to tell him when and where to have meetings with people. That when he had that meeting with Gorbachev, that was determined by an astrologer. That's why when you go to Isaiah 47, he speaks about the multitude of their witchcraft and their counsels. But guess what? The average person doesn't know all that. They don't know that when you go behind the scenes of this world, it literally just runs off witches and warlocks. But they might know about the music industry a little bit because they've made it fashionable to expose the music industry. But it's not just the music industry.
Everything.
It's across the board. This society runs on witches and warlocks. All their top companies, these CEOs and all these man, a lot of them are just witches, high-level witches and high-level warlocks. And if you want to get up in this world, you really need to become a high-level witch and a high-level warlock.
Yeah.
That's how this world operates. It operates off witchcraft.
Yeah.
People made this idea of being a witch and a warlock. They've got magic powers floating from your hands.
Yeah.
There's more to witchcraft than the idea of just having power.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because all the rituals, it's oh, it's a lifestyle.
Mhm.
That's what these men live under, you know.
That's it.
And they put in strings from behind the scenes of all these puppets that we perceive to be our leaders, man.
That's it. Can I just grab this from the elder from Hawaii, Shalom Yabashim Shalom. Right. So it says Wilbur Ross, who was a Rothschild and co-executive at the time, did play a role in negotiating a deal that helped Trump restructure his Atlantic City casinos in the 80s. He was representing the investors, as you see there. It says Wilbur Ross's role while working for Rothschild and Co. represented investors in Trump's casinos. And then it goes to say, next one, it says, while there was a DARPA project called LifeLog that had a similar concept of gathering and storing vast amounts of personal data, it was shut down the same day that Facebook launched.
Oh, they just switch it out because the public private is really an illusion. There is no government, and both these things really work together because it's the people.
Yeah.
The government and the private sector is really working together already. Yeah. It's an illusion that they work separate.
Yeah.
But again, these, like for instance, the Federal Reserve and the financial, these man just, it's private, but these man just chop and change between each other.
Yeah.
Right, and that's how they're able to keep the project going in the same direction.
Yeah. Because if I could say a point I make every now and then is just the way that things have to kind of operate in the West. They have to make it seem like big government isn't the ones doing it, whereas in places like China, the government can just straight up say, "This is what we're doing," and then the people are accustomed. They're accustomed. But in the West, we have these so-called freedoms.
Because obviously their constitution is supposed to be the powers in the hands of the people.
Exactly.
The government, right? Because the government is supposed to serve the people. They can't have all these governments enforcing things, and that's why you have all these conflicts right now. Because what is the government supposed to do? What's it not supposed to do?
Exactly. Yeah. But yeah, because like right now they can be like, "Oh, Facebook is tracking us." That's very different to the government is tracking us. Yeah.
Genuinely, but they're finding ways to do it, right? That's why you got your Facebooks and your Googles taking all this bad data in. They're watching you still. They're just not under a government banner, or, whatever.
People don't realize like a lot of these dudes that you see, they were raised from children to do what they're doing now. And that's a mad concept because the average person doesn't live that life. So it looks crazy to say that because you believe the bullshit that they might give you. But if you look at Elon, right, his name was actually taken from a book. I forgot the name of the book, but it's a book about a guy that goes to Mars and founds a city on Mars. And the dad was on the news the other day. Yeah, they gave him that name. And they use that as part of the thing. That's what he pushes, yeah? Mars thing. Because he's part of a cult. He was born into that cult. And these witches and the warlocks, they get together, like how they show you in Damien, and they say, okay, this is what he's going to do. He's the chosen one to achieve this goal. But you see, if you don't understand that, how these men operate on the level of witchcraft, that sounds crazy to you. That you can have a child being born into a witch family and be used for a particular thing. And they'll raise him up in the world. And he'll go to this universe and do this and do that, and then he'll end up where they want him to end up.
What do you think these, the skull and bones and stuff? What do you think these are for?
Yep, skull and bones.
If it's not for that particular purposes, why do they exist?
Which is the worship of Jupiter. Skull and bones emblem. Skull and bones is a representation of Jupiter with the black gown.
Yeah, it goes to say like on us about and stuff, but it's I was just thinking as the elders were speaking about how people will in the same breath believe in like religious zealots, right? I.e. people, they'll believe like some guys in some cave somewhere will go up and strap stuff around themselves and blow for a belief, right? But they can't then believe that someone is gonna basically go all out for something that they have believed. In this case, you may not call it a religion, but that's what it is to these people.
Yeah, they sacrifice. Look, they had a whole bunch of reality TV shows here with these parents transgendering their children. Those parents are fucking initiates, man. They're initiates. A lot of stuff you see from the TV, they've got initiates in place to provide these children, to provide these people to do certain things to get the ball rolling. And you watch them closely, like, oh shit, man's doing that. Man's throwing up this Freemason and everything with this man,
They go over the stages,
Yeah, it's what it is, man. I got this here, man. Wisdom of Solomon 12. Yeah.
Odious words, yeah?
From the top. Yeah. Because Esau's nothing more than he's doing the same things that the Canaanites go into. And that's why in this society, the occultic aspect of this world is what's hidden the most from the actual consciousness of the people. Because if people actually understood what they were seeing when they were watching a concert, or when they're watching a music video, or they're watching this advert, you'd be like, hold on, this can't, all this occultic symbolism put in there can't be by accident. Well, that means all these people are into occultism. And then the world becomes spooky, because you're like, rah, like, the world is, these people are a bunch of witches and warlocks, man. But the way they portray the world is all clean cut, and it's all based upon money. They'll only show you the money side of everything. This guy's doing it. They don't show you the
And this is all considered, this is considered normal.
Yeah.
And all the other stuff is, you know, mystical.
Silicon Valley is filled with nothing but witches and warlocks.
Well, you get a lot of freaks in Silicon Valley, man. That must be like the alpha, the Decepticon Central. Let me call it that.
It's filled with nothing. All their companies always have occultic names and occultic symbolisms, and they build the building, and the building's always occultic.
Oh, the Amazon build. I don't know if they did build it. The one that looked like the Tower of Babel.
Yeah.
Come on. This is not an accident, man. It's because these people are part of a thing, but the average person isn't educated on these things, and that's why they don't see it. But once you start learning, you're like, oh shit, yeah, that's demonic as hell. Like, what's going on here? That's why this whole world needs, you know, beginning with the United States government. That's probably the most blatantly occultic. Like, we could be here for days talking about the whole Molech in Washington. The Washington DC cornerstone was laid by Freemasonry and a Freemason flipping ritual. The Pentagon is a damn pentagram, and it faces the flipping North Star. Whose decision was that?
Well, it speaks about, you know, their witchcraft from their youth, because from its inception, it's been built upon witchcraft.
The White House was built by Freemasons. The White House, right? The Capitol building. We already go into the apotheosis of Washington. You got Persephone on top of the building.
Cleopatra's Needle, you know,
Cleopatra's Needle, the so-called Washington Monument.
the ley lines, and
The whole thing is demonic and full of witchcraft. But Trump just
as well. I remember talking about something like Lot 666.
I know Trump's building is like 666 tall, something like that.
Bro, the Trump Tower.
Yeah.
All these men are high-level witches and warlocks, and they work in a system that's designed to channel witchcraft. But somehow, one of them's good. Come on. He's just squeaky clean, and he's just up there trying to do right. No. Go on.
What's doing it?
What do you mean? Go on, read that.
This is the Wisdom of Solomon 12 from the top. It says, for thine incorruptible spirit is in all things. Therefore, chastenest thou them by little and little that offend, and warnest them by putting them in remembrance, wherein they have offended, that leaving their wickedness they may believe on thee, O Lord. For it was thy will to destroy by the hands of our fathers both those old inhabitants of the Holy Land.
That's the Canaanites. Go on.
Whom thou hatest for doing most odious works of witchcraft.
They were deep into the witchcraft. And when you go deep into the witchcraft, like Aleister Crowley, the OTO, right? Which Aleister Crowley, that was his initiation ritual was homosexuality, straight up. Like, once you got, like, you had the first level of initiate, you used to make him do some stupid shit. But then that wasn't really the real initiation. They didn't know that. Once you got up, then they give you the real initiation, which is homosexuality, because there's a massive amount of witchcraft surrounding homosexuality. They call the anus the key of David. Yeah, there's a whole bunch of witchcraft surrounding homosexuality, right? Now, these guys, we're talking about blood magic, menstrual blood magic. We're talking about eating feces, right? Piss. You know, that's why you get all this golden. Porno has a lot of this shit in there.
Yeah.
Sadism,
Yep.
sadism, a lot of sadistic humiliation rituals. All that was formed as part of witchcraft. Orgies, sexual oracles. So you had women that would have sex with a man in order to see visions, right?
They were on drugs and shit.
While on drugs, obviously, the drugs is always part of it. Drugs is nothing new. Taking a drug and ayahuasca and you go out into the space and start talking to a dragon. This is nothing new. And LSD, which that was the CIA, right? With the MK Ultra program, how to use LSD to put spirits in people and possess them with multiple spirits and split personalities and all these things. Canaanites were into all of that. So was the Egyptians. So was the Babylonians. They were into all these high-level witchcraft, but odious, it's disgusting, it's filthy, because their thing on the left-hand side is different to our thing. Our thing is clean. You're not allowed to go up into the holy places after you've had sex. They'll have sex in their places. Aleister Crowley, he did one ritual where he made his woman have sex with a goat, and then she had her shit on an altar, and he ate it. And that's the level of witchcraft, the powers these men want.
And then that's
And I'm sorry, and by the way, he was an MI6 agent as well. That's on record that Aleister Crowley was an MI6 agent. Told you these agencies, man.
I was gonna say that's why that's one of the things they've made adult entertainment so easily accessible, right? Because it's like, from a young age, you're someone's basically observing that, watching that, and like you know what it is with dick, you need to go stronger, harder, right? So then the average stuff stops being normal for a lot of these people, and without this truth, you ain't got they like people in this world have no boundaries.
Yeah, the MI5 old logo.
And this is what we tell you, man. You got to be careful with these different leaders.
That's the MI5 logo. They've always been witches and warlocks, man.
I'm saying that these community leaders, man, agents, literally agents. A lot of them, man, and you can't trust them because they're set up to control and manipulate the people. You know?
I know what you call it, them man are off, but a rabbi owns the biggest adult entertainment, but that will be a community leader, right? He's the rabbi.
You know, all these pastors, right? Jackson, getting involved with PDD, all these different things. They're agents, man. You know? And that's why you gotta be careful, when you look at these people, man. Thinking that these men are God and shit.
Yeah, that's why you go up in the world. It's not just because they got money and they're doing all these freakiness, and it's because you need to do that stuff. Because once you get up in the world and you start getting influence, it's powered by witchcraft. And so you have to do the rituals. If you don't want to do the rituals, then guess what? You can't be part of the mechanism. You're gonna be left out because this guy ain't in the club.
Well, the scripture say these are the wicked that prosper in the world. You got to do wickedness to be prosperous in this world.
P. Diddy and all these, not just him, but all these Dre, all these guys to be where they are. They had to do the rituals, man. That's how they give them power over the masses, over the minds of the people.
But they hold the keys to what they do.
And next man will be over. I never went to a Diddy party. It's not. That's a psyop. It's not about no Diddy party. They have parties, general rituals happen all the time. It's got nothing to do with just Diddy. Just like the Epstein thing. If you're not on the Epstein list, then you're not up to no good. That's a psyop, man. They got this shit going on all over America, all over Britain, in underground groves and all sorts of things, man. It's not just on the Epstein Island. That's what they put out there, so you can focus on that. And
there's plenty of islands.
There's plenty of islands and plenty of underground places where they do these things, man, with children and all sorts. Yeah. Look up the Finders Code, where they found all them children in the warehouse. And the only reason it came out is because the ATF officer wrote a report on it before the FBI could get there, and the FBI took it over and tried to bin it all. But it's still the ATF report, the original ATF report was still out there. The Finders Code. They found all them children, man, in them warehouses, man. This thing's been going on for time.
Good precept. This is Leviticus 19:26. And it says, "Ye shall not eat anything with the blood, neither shall you use enchantment nor observe times."
There you go. They use enchantments. So that when you go into the sex magic and all these different things, they'll use it, and then what they'll do is they'll steal it with like a particular item. That's where you get a talisman. And then so you might say like you wanna gain power over people and gain more fans. You do the ritual, and it will have the blood or whatever, and then they'll empower a particular bracelet, and they'll tell you never take it off. Yard man will know the thing, like you get a guard ring. That's what them man all want to get, but they don't want to get shot. So them man will get a guard ring, and if you wear the guard ring, no man can. Man will all try to shoot you, and they'll see three of you, and all that kind of bullshit. But they do that in them realms. If you want to like achieve something or you want to do something, they do these rituals, these enchantments, right? And then that way. So sometimes you see this man wearing his jewelry. The jewelry's been enchanted.
Yeah.
You know,
Jump to 20.
even a lot of these ancient, a lot of these ancient artifacts that they go and they dig up and they find is because those are old enchantments with a lot of witchcraft on there. Like they show you that in what's it called, Indiana Jones, the crystal skulls and all that. The crystal skull's not fake. That's a real thing. They found crystal skulls where man was like flipping. Imagine a man sacrifice 1,000 people on the damn skull. Like the damn thing's spooky, blood. And they get these things, yeah, and they use it for their different rituals and that as a talisman. And then so it's worth a lot of money.
View the power.
Even the paintings, man. Listen, I can go on forever. You go look up Helena Blavatsky. She was a high level witch. Yeah, I believe she's she started Theosophy, which is a branch of witchcraft that most of these men adhere to. She went over to New York. She was hanging around with nothing but all the artists. She manipulated modern art. So you know when people see modern art and they're like, oh, this is crazy. That's because modern art has a lot of esoteric witchcraft built into it.
That's why you got that one, was it Romovich? Like,
Yeah.
you mess up, man.
Yeah, people like her.
Yeah.
And then so man will then go and buy her painting for £1 million, and you're thinking, oh, that's dumb. Why you buy? Yeah, because you don't know that that painting has got all kind of spirits and all kind of ritual blood all up in there. And the person that owns it, to them, it will give them power if they put it in their house. So that's why it's worth £1 million to them. And you look at it and go, oh, that. But to them, it's got esoteric power and value. But there's a whole different world beyond the world that they show you.
That painting of King Charles.
Yeah, man.
And
That
that
was
was
spooky.
spooky.
That's
Yeah.
red.
But people just like no one questioned that. Like,
That
wait,
was spooky.
why is the king like? You know, if he was right, he would have been like, nah, but I don't want that.
Not your typical portrait.
Exactly.
You don't want to do a DNA test on that red ink.
Oh,
Go on.
Chapter 28, it says, you shall not make any cuttings in your flesh of the dead, nor print any marks upon you. I am the Lord.
Right, the printing of marks is inscription magic. So now they've made that popular to get tattoos. But inscription and sigils is also a part of witchcraft. Right? As we know, you get the one eye symbol and all these different symbols, pyramids, they all have their different witchcraft. And then so they copy, who are they copying when they get in these things? Who started making it popularized to get these tattoos? People that are already in the system.
Yeah.
So you're copying like these NBA players and that
Jay-Z.
who are initiated into the system, and you think they just getting a tattoo because it looks nice. A lot of them tattoos they're getting because it's a talent, it's putting witchcraft on them.
Where is that also? Porn industry.
Right, yeah.
All these girls are tattoos everywhere, bloody.
Now you go get the tattoo, but you do it as a lower level initiate in ignorance. But some of these men are there. The reason they got the one eye or the devil horns in a particular place, and the tattoo situation again. That's an apprentice thing. Not anyone can get into being a tattooist. You have to become an apprentice. So that's spooky as it is. Now you might think, oh, these guys are going off. All right, go do your thing then.
And it's even on a tattoo. Like back in the day, you used observation, just being out and about. Back in the day, people used to get like, you know, the dumb ones like a heart or, you know, someone's name
Which
or
the heart
R.I.P.
is AR.
Yeah,
Symbol-
which you
symbol
look at
of
that.
AR.
They're like someone's name R.I.P. so and so. But nowadays, you're observing people. They get a lot of weird tattoos. Like you're looking at them, skulls. Like well, one chick, she had a Medusa on her arm, and she was with a guy. I was like, bro, if you ain't heeded that warning, bro, you got Medusa on her arm, and you're there, bro.
It's the money. Now you might say, well, I got a tattoo and I didn't. Yeah, that's because you're not an initiate. But that doesn't mean that there ain't people out there that they know what it is that they're doing. They're doing it from an initiated perspective. So they understand the sciences that they're using.
Yeah.
You don't, because you're just a follower, you're a sheep. You know what I'm saying? Hey, there's a lot, man. Look, man, there's no mistake here that when you look into transgenderism and you go into the worship of Baphomet or Lucifer, they believe that they are androgynous. So the idea of the male and the feminine and the feminine and the male is actually an occultic ideology. So when you see these doctors transforming these children, there's an actual occultic step to that. And one of the things that what I found it out on was what's that thing with all the occultism in there? Not Van Helsing, the other one. No. It was kind of sick still. with the vampire.
Oh, I know the
Underworld?
one.
No, man, it's on Netflix, man.
Transylvania? Yeah.
Castlevania.
Castlevania.
In Castlevania, they show you about how you had the head witch, the witch dude, the occultist. He created a rebus, and I'm like, what? What's this? And the rebus, he took the soul of Vlad and the soul of his wife and put them in one body to create this rebus, which is supposed to grant great power, right? And I'm like, what the fuck is this? And I looked it up, and it was real. This is key part of the. It's called the great work, or what's it called?
Divine commission.
It's the divine hermaphrodite. Is it the Great Commission or something? What is it?
Something like that.
If you look up the rebus, and in alchemy, it's like the goal, the fusion of male and female. So when you see them pushing this transgender thing, you got to understand that it's
Magnum opus.
magnum opus, right?
Great work, yeah.
The great work, right? So the idea of a transgender is actually occultic in its nature. It's and these doctors who develop these treatments are not just doctors. They're actually witches. They're alchemists, and they're using what? Chemicals, yeah, to change a human being, to create them into a rebus. And then some of your celebrities are rebuses, and you don't even know, right? And then if you look on Baphomet, the Baphomet has the caduceus, which is the same sign of the medical industry. So it's all tied and goes back together when you trace it by the symbolisms. But the average person doesn't know that. They just think transgenderism is something to do with people and their feelings. They don't know that, no, there's witches and warlocks, and they're using these children to create like talismans, basically.
I remember you talking about as well the abortion doctors as well. A lot of them be witches.
Yeah, they're witches too.
You know.
It's industrialized child sacrifice.
Yeah.
And then they take the baby parts and make more potions and make
yeah.
it's that all witchcraft, man. They're taking eye of newt, kidney of newborn.
Yeah.
Come on, man. But it's portrayed to the world as what it, as something different. Go on up.
I didn't finish it.
Yeah, finish it up and then we get it.
Okay. Yeah. Probably so, yeah. Verse 29 in Leviticus 19:29. Do not prostitute my daughter to cause her to be a slaw, lest the land fall to whoredom and the land become full of wickedness. And verse 31, it says, regard not them that have familiar spirits, neither seek after wizards to be defiled by them. I am the Lord your God.
I saw a guy walk when I was in London the other day, walking up. You see him walking down the street with a cat on his damn shoulder, man.
Oh, black in the heat.
But all this, I've been seeking into familiar spirits, man. Man think that's a joke, but look, Marie Blair, she was seeking onto familiar spirits. All these men, they operate on that level, right? They might not come out and tell you, but the signs will be there. They see it. Like there's something called this is red bracelet that they're all wearing, Tucker Castle, all of that, and that goes back to witchcraft. It's a little thin string red bracelet that they all wear. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? The signs will be there if you know what you're looking for, because they'll always expose themselves.
And then as the elders going into it, the more you look into it, the more you start realizing that it's literally everywhere. And that's why sometimes people are like, wait, it can't be everywhere. But no, it is. Because you tell them, oh, that's a cult, that's a cult, that's a cult.
It's because you're ignorant,
Exactly.
and they keep these things in plain sight. That's why they say, who shall see us, man? Because even though it's out there, you don't understand. And so you don't see it. It's right in front of you, don't see it. You don't want to believe it because they made it sound stupid.
Yeah.
With the movies and stuff, they make it sound stupid, like Harry Potter, yeah.
Yeah, and then they say science.
Yeah.
Yeah, but all them scientists were witches. Listen, go back. Look, if you remember, the Illuminati, right? The main recruits of the Illuminati were all doctors, scientists. That's why they've always had control over that community. So when you go into the Lunar Society in London, you can look this up. The Lunar Society in London, which is an occultic society, they had what? Erasmus, Darwin, all these guys in Birmingham. They were all part of that society, and they were all witches and warlocks. But you see, you trust the science, and you don't understand that these scientists are also witches and warlocks.
The fact that they repeated it was witchcraft.
The thing is, you could imagine this back in Egypt. They were saying the same things. Trust the magician. Them. You know what I'm saying? You can get got rid of, but they didn't.
Even they show you the whole idea, the alchemy and all that. It goes back to chemistry too. So it's just the witchcraft is just being in rebellion and trying to do things
Manipulate.
outside the
Yeah.
will of the Most High.
Yeah.
So they use all these different things in witchcraft.
Yeah, because once again, trust me goes into the meaning of belief, right? And then even when you read Isaiah 31, what does it say? Warns you that go down to Egypt for help and trust not in Yahweh. You trusted the science, i.e. Esau. That's really what, when you say trust the science, say trust Esau.
That's it. And how he does his things. Because there's a righteous way to use knowledge, science, right? Because that's what science is, knowledge, right? There's a righteous way to use these things. But Esau's MO is to use it in ways of wickedness, because he is the wicked.
Rebellion.
That's right. Right. So anything that he comes up with, man, isn't beneficial.
No.
You know, he's not going to do things the right way. And that's why he's going to shot at you. Like,
That's why the
You know?
scripture says we wrestle not against flesh and blood. You know, because there's heavy witchcraft going out here. But you know, like I said, most people they don't acknowledge that because they view witchcraft as something some dude in Haiti does.
Yeah.
Like, you know, booga booga. They don't know that. No, that's what
and I'm sure it's real. Like, you know.
no, that's what your top CEOs are doing.
Yeah.
That's what your professors are doing in these universities. You know, that's what your celebrities are doing.
They have higher access to it. They have more knowledge.
You see that they might not Bohemian Grove.
Esau's good at pointing, like deflecting attention. Be like, no, they're the corrupt ones, they're the wicked ones, they're the violent ones. They're exactly. Yeah. I love.
Back in wisdom.
LeBron James and them man, that man's working it. And he put a curse on that one dude that had sex with his mother, blood. He said he's bugged out now. That's what they say. They say LeBron had to put a hex on him, bro. It was something West, Jelonte West or something, and he's all bugged out walking around the streets now, like. And he was the one that came out that was dealing with LeBron's mom, man. So LeBron must have set them witches onto him, man.
How old is he? There's no way he should be playing still either.
Yeah. Cool. Chemical pharmaceutical.
Exodus 32:18. Thou shalt not suffer a witch to live.
Yeah, the Lord is against all manner of witchcraft, and this world that we're living in is packed to the brim with witches and warlocks, man. And the average person just doesn't know and doesn't understand. They don't want to believe it, but it's true. You be walking through London sometimes, and I see certain little places with a little archway going under, and I see some mad symbols. I feel like Blade. You know what I mean? What's happening there? Yeah, like Provence, man. Which families? Even Ramar would tell you. Travel through certain places in England, and you go into certain towns, and it's spooky. You just get a spooky vibration in the town. You know? Catholicism, they had, there's a whole bunch of witchcraft in there too. Go on.
Back in Wisdom of Solomon 12, verse 3, it says, but it was by will to destroy by the hands of our fathers, both those old inhabitants of the Holy Land.
So I just want to say something quick. We've got fucking stones, Stonehenge, right? Which is well known, right? And they know people go up there, and the country will block it off for them to go do their rituals and shit. Why is that?
Yeah. Oh, you know it is.
It's not a real thing. If it's just, you know what I mean?
I believe that the elder, when he went down there, he was basically saying how I forget the exact conversation. I only say the part that I remember, but it was like that's not even like the main bit where like the spooky stuff goes. That's just like for the common man. Oh yeah, just go over there, do a little bit of, But apparently there's a bit further down that is like properly spooky, in that Stonehenge area.
Yeah, even the Queen, remember she had that ritual. She had with the one when she came into power, and then when she died, they broke the one because when the witch dies, you have to break the one. They did all that ritual there in front of the people, man. What can I say? What can I say? Here's what it is.
Verse 4 says, whom thou hatest for doing most odious works of witchcraft and wicked sacrifices, and also those merciless murderers of children and devourers of man's flesh and the feasts of blood.
Yeah, so it sounds like vampirism.
Yeah.
But they'll make it look like vampirism is this movie thing, but it's not. Vampirism is part of the occult.
Adrenochrome.
Adrenochrome and all that. So it's all part of the occult. Is there.
Is that bad one too?
Yeah.
Is it?
I'm gonna have to check the
Let's
street
get
now.
shot. I don't mind that. Google phone. For now, we call it the Google. Cool. Let's jump back. There once we finishing at 35.
Is it?
Okay. Psalms 2.
Oh no, I wasn't finished. No.
Oh, he wasn't finished.
Yeah, back in Ezekiel 35, it says, well, we can't, that's the point now, innit? But,
I can bring the what do you call it? Something else that the elder put up as well. It says AI overview. It says the Lunar Society was a British learned society active in Birmingham during the Industrial Revolution. Right, it was a group of which, even in that, you're kind of seeing just how patient these elites have been. Right, so it says it was a group of prominent industrialists, natural philosophers, and intellectuals who met regularly between 1765 and 1813, primarily on the Monday closest to the full moon, which Monday, that's Dies Lunas, mon literally from the moon. So it says to the full moon to allow for easier travel at night. It says they played a crucial role in the development of science, technology, and industry in that era.
Silicon Valley. They were like, they were like the Silicon Valley before there was a Silicon Valley. Same type dudes.
Yeah. It says, in some traditions, a witch or a magician's this is different point. It says, in some traditions, a witch or a magician's wand is broken upon their death as a symbolic act to signify the end of their magic and power on earth. This rich. That's it.
So yeah, you look at the lunacy, that's why you have the Royal Society, and through them guys, that's when the science was tamed. Because previous to that, science was more geared towards, exploring the ways of the Most High, man. But these guys came in, and that's when you start getting evolution and all this madness coming in, and the idea of heliocentricity and all that stuff. That was through them infiltrating the scientific community, man. The Illuminati, these Masons, these occultists. And like I said, it's the same thing to this day. Silicon Valley and all these guys that's running all this technology, all these guys are just occultists that's set up to push towards the agenda. Bill Gates and all these guys. What's the first Apple computer was what?
Yeah, it was like
$666.
Yeah.
Like, why was that? And even the symbology of the apple, because it represents rebellion, the forbidden fruit. Because remember, Esau sees technology as a wisdom that was forbidden from man, because they believe in that their own wisdom and knowledge can allow them to transcend into being a god. And that's really what it's all about: using technology or science or your own wisdom, witchcraft, to become God. That is basically the way that their man are dealing with it.
But history will tell you, man, it never worked.
No, go ahead.
It never worked.
Ezekiel 28 verses 3 and 4 says, behold, thou art wiser than Daniel. There is no secret that they can hide from thee. With thy wisdom and with thine understanding, thou hast gotten thee riches and hast gotten gold and silver into thy treasures.
That used to be seeing is believing, isn't it? Now you can't even believe what you see. That's witchcraft to the next degree. Now with this AI thing, which they probably had that thing from before, even better than what they're releasing now. But now it's like your mind is all messed up now. Now you just got to read the scriptures and just don't watch anything, because bro, you don't know. It used to be a saying, right? Seeing is believing. And then you might watch a movie, but you know that CGI, you know it's fake, blah blah blah. Like now,
Reality don't even you don't know them.
now it's like they'll show you a video and it looks real to a degree. You're like, oh shit, seeing is believing, right? No, it's not really. So that's why this man has to go, because you used to be able to trust your eyes.
I ain't gonna trust your faith. So, scripture. Been around, isn't it?
Where we're going. We won't need them.
Can I grab the right one now? So Isaiah 47 and 10. Like it. So thou hast trusted in thy wickedness, thou hast said none seeth me. Thy wisdom and thy
I
knowledge.
was saying none see them, because they've done a lot of this stuff below the radar. Like the average person is not aware of how the world actually operates, so they don't understand the occultism,
Create a bunch of smoke screens too.
the smoke screens, the psyops that they're running, right? You know, go on.
It says, thy wisdom and thy knowledge it hath perverted thee, and thou hast said in thine heart, I am none else beside me.
They don't think that they're gonna go down, but they are gonna go down.
Like we were saying at the beginning, the Most High is one in control. You know, so you're doing all this thinking that you're gonna get on this level, that you could defy the Most High and have your kingdom, have your cake and eat it. That's just not gonna work. It's never worked. And that's why the Most High made examples of people like Nebuchadnezzar and turn him into a beast of burden, grazing the grass. Strong man things. You're not great. You're here by my decree.
The Lord overpowered all these magi and with all their knowledge already. Now Esau might think you're doing better than them, but you ain't no closer than the Babylonians. When it comes to overthrowing the word of the Lord, you ain't no closer than the Babylonians are. You will never be able to catch up. There is no witchcraft available that's going to overturn the words of the Lord. It don't exist. It's a fool's errand to think that you can amass yourself the knowledge and the wisdom necessary to go up against the God who created knowledge and wisdom. It doesn't make no sense.
Well, check it. When Aaron and Moses went to the Magi and casting the sticks down or whatever, man, Aaron and Moses didn't know nothing about no witchcraft, bro. They were newbies, like proper fresh, green as hell. These men were trained veterans in the magic dark arts, right? And all the man did was chuck the staff down because it's the most highest power that was doing the thing. Yeah, I mean, like idiots, fools, they were. You know, that's how it is, though.
And they couldn't stop Egypt from being destroyed either.
That's it.
And just like Egypt today, the authority was working hand in hand with the priesthood. And it's either the idea they say that America is separated. They separated church and state, but what they didn't tell you is that they didn't separate Satan and state. So the church as an organization may be separated from the government, but the government's full of witches and warlocks anyway. You know what I'm saying?
Nehemiah 3 and 4. Because of the multitude of of the whoredoms of the well favored harlot, the mistress of witchcraft, that setteth nations through our whoredoms, and the family through our witchcraft, behold, I am against thee, said the Lord of hosts.
Because the American way is a lot of witchcraft and it seduces the marketing. Everything they do is designed to seduce you into following their way, and their way, yes, it enriches. You see, because when you serve Satan, you're gonna get perks. You're gonna get the rewards. Yeah, but at the end of the day, it's destroying the people. So people look at what America has to offer, like, and they're in awe of it. But a lot of that is really glamour. It's glamorization, which glamour itself goes back to witchcraft. The ability to make, like, like an old witch will glamorize herself and make herself look young again, but it's really some old witch. That's basically what America does. They package up things which are gonna destroy you, but they make it look nice. Like, remember when you was younger?
Sweet poison.
Yeah, it's like all these toys. When you was younger, right? These damn toys, if you watch them on the TV, bro, it's the best thing going, man. You can't wait. You begging you like a demon. Like, I want that. And if you can't get it, you're moving mad.
Yeah.
You're moving mad on road. Oh, I need it. Then you go and you get the toy and it does nothing like what you see on the flipping advert.
Yeah.
The advert was just there to seduce you.
Pay in 10 minutes and you dash it away. With the madness.
Yeah, like, you know what I'm saying? All these like when I was on the islands, right? We used to have pizza, we used to have fried chicken and everything, but it was good, bro. But you know, when you're watching American TV, like your eyes are just like, yeah, I want some of that KFC.
Yeah.
Or they'll have the Dominoes would be like, I remember it like, bro, it was a demon, like Dominoes, and it's all like glamorized. Yeah, you're like, I need some of this Dominoes pizza. That's the reason. So then you dying for that, yeah. And now when you think, when you grow up, you kind of realize, like, yo, it was better off. That little thing, that little shop my man had that was doing the pizza was better than Domino's. But Domino's got the witchcraft behind it, just like McDonald's has got the McDonald's is when they had the C19 thing. Yeah, I remember I was with this brother. They had the lockdown, so you couldn't go to the McDonald's. Bro, I see man lined up. Yeah. Like, when they opened back up the McDonald's, they weren't going, they weren't going to a fine dining place or no. Them men were all lined up around the corner just to get some McDonald's. And McDonald's is not quality food. It's not. It's just a lot of witchcraft.
A lot of these things they've got demons on people from you're young. They pummel your brain with it, yeah. So it almost attaches you to that product.
Yeah.
So it's not even that the product's good; it's that you have
Craving, like
a spiritual attachment to that thing, man. I mean, it took me ages to stop drinking Coke. Sometimes I'll go up to the counter and tell myself I don't want Coke. When they ask what I want, I'll say Coke. I'm like, what the hell is going on here? You know, you used to have the Christmas holidays are coming.
Yeah.
Coca-Cola is pushed through Christmas. Santa Claus. It's demons, man. And they get the children. And that's really all these older people that are lining up around the corner for 10 hours to get McDonald's. It's because from the time they were children, spell was being cast on them the whole time. McDonald's, McDonald's, eat McDonald's, eat McDonald's is a treat. Eat that, eat that, eat that, eat that.
Not happy. Was it the clown Ronald?
The arches and all that. The golden artist, man. And then they got the Ronald McDonald, which, by the way, the clown is actually a demon. And there's a sign called the Order of the Clown, which is a Freemasonic order. That's why most people are scared of clowns, because a clown is actually a demon within the occult. That's why they make so many films about killer clowns, because that's actually the real version of what a clown is.
Killer clown from space.
Killer clown from space. That is a real thing. You can go look it up. It's the order of the clowns. That's why. What was John? What's his name? Gacy. Gacy. You ever heard of Gacy? The serial killer. They found all them boys under the man's floorboards and all that. Well, his job, which he was a Mason. That's why he touched the kid, moved to another state, and became a clown. Yeah, because he was protected, right? I think he had 33 murders. You have to check. I think he had 33 murders or 33 bodies that they actually found. So I've got to check the numbers on that, yeah. But he was actually a Mason, and he was part of the Order of the Clown. That's why he was doing the clown and doing the killings. But most people don't realize that. They think a clown is a children's thing. But why do you think most people don't like clowns? They're scared of them. Because it's actually a demon, man. So they got McDonald's with the Ronald McDonald. That's a demon. Yeah. Look it up, man. That's what I'm telling you, man.
They used to do like birthday parties at McDonald's for like children and stuff.
Yeah, it's demonic, man. So then by the time you're older, that's been put a spell on you, man. Go on. Oh shit. Okay. Go.
Yeah, leave your bag at the car, isn't it?
Yeah, I got a roll as well, innit? I've got work.
Oh, you're not staying later?
I got work.
Yeah, but you're going now though.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, go on.
I say, behold, I am against thee, said the Lord of hosts, and I will discover thy skirts upon thy face, and I will show them the nations thy nakedness, and the kingdom thy shame.
Yeah. So eventually they're just gonna be destroyed. All this witchcraft and this wickedness that they've been perpetrating, it's all gonna come to naught. And that's what we started off with in the lesson. And all the plans of the heathen, all the plans of Esau, Edom, all this witchcraft, everything that they're doing is only gonna fulfill the Lord's prophecy, and then they're gonna go into judgment and destruction. It ain't gonna work. So the land of Israel is gonna be returned to who it's supposed to go to, regardless of what anyone wants to say about that. Because it's the will of the Lord. And these nations are going to destroy each other. Because it's the will of the Lord. And nothing's going to stop that. So that man can cease fire, whatever they want to do with whichever fire, man. We know that all that's going to happen in the end is they're going to have to go at it. Things are going to get out of control, man. But before that happens, you got to have the MOTB, which again is prophecy. Okay? You brothers take over.
Hey, Sean. Yes, it says John Wayne Gacy was convicted of 33 murders.
See it there?
Yeah.
33 murders. That's a signal.
Yeah.
So he was actually and a lot of them serial killers are. A lot of them serial killers were Masons. They were doing Satan's work, man, and then their work was done. And then they made a public spectacle. They tell them, oh yeah, we need to. Yeah. I want my work to be known. They make a public spectacle out of them.
Yeah.
Dudes, it's all juiced in, but they don't tell you the full story, innit? You know what I mean? But there's something called the Order of the Clown. That's a real Freemasonic organization.
Yeah. And the thing to know as well, it says he was convicted of 33 murders.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean
so they want you to know that number 33. Yeah. Just like the 33 pizzas that Andrew Tate ordered before he got arrested.
That's it. It's because there's 33 views right now.
Hey, for real?
Yeah.
He's all lining up.
Oh man.
That's it. All I had it. I had.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, because he's a Mason as well, man.
Correct.
All right. Shalom.
Hey, shalom, yeah. How about you, Trevor? Sure.
We got Sheffield as well. Yes.
And the 6. And I will cast abominable filth upon thee, and make thee vile, and I will set thee a gazing stone. Yeah, that's it. So at the end, we're gonna see the destruction. To begin with America, the main theater for that, the main downfall that Mosiah is gonna bring the fire, for the both they have shall have the word, as the enemy is saying, all the witchcraft, polluting the mind of the people, all that is gonna, my God, they're gonna face the consequences. It's gonna be what? The fire.
So the AI overview, the elders were talking about, Esau uses witchcraft and technology for rebellion. And this is one of the idols these Edomites look up to, man. This is in Greek mythology, Prometheus, the titan known for his intelligence and as a champion of mankind. He defied Zeus, basically being rebellious, by stealing fire from the gods and giving it to humanity in an act that brought civilization, knowledge, and technology to humans. This act of defiance resulted in severe punishment by Zeus, who chained Prometheus to a rock where an eagle would internally devour his liver. But the point is rebellion, and using the witchcraft and technology to rebel, deceiving the people instead of people to follow Yahweh Shemashai, man.
Right, that's right. So you see, because we was reading that book, this precept can grab it.
So book of Psalms 96 and 5. Psalms 96 and 4. For the Lord is great, and the greatly to be praised.
Yeah, because that's it, right? The Most High is the one that's to be praised. Okay, and like right now we live in a world. I always think about that scene from Viva Vendetta when the guy is like, I forget exactly. It's like, what caused all it? Godless, right? Because we live in a godless world, man. Right? As the elders were going into all of the witchcraft that's in this world, right, and the fact that people reverence Esau and ultimately all of these different demonic entities, right? But they don't reverence the Most High. What the Most High is coming back to do in these last days is to put respect upon His name, man. Right? Which is why these situations, right now, have got a little bit of peace and safety, right? Because they brokered a ceasefire between Iran and Israel, blah, 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 right? But that's not going to stop the inevitable, right? America is still going to be destroyed. So is Israel. Okay, so think it out.
This is the book of 1 Thessalonians 5 and 1. Say, but of the times and seasons, brethren, ye have no need that I write unto you, for yourself know perfectly that the day of the Lord so cometh as a thief in the night. For when they shall say peace and safety.
So if we could even touch on the thief in the night, why is it going to, which I believe is going to go into this later on, but why is it going to come as a thief in the night? Because for the most part, people are doing what? They're occupied in folly, right? In fact, even on that quick Ecclesiastes 10, right? These people are occupied in folly, and you'll always remember what did Boris Johnson say in the second lockdown? He was like, "Now we need to bring back the sport because people need that bread and circus. People need that distraction, right? Which when you look at the word have fun, for instance, in Romanian, it's the Latin, it's a romance, as they say, language, right? To have fun is au distractia, right? Wow. Basically, be distracted. Okay.
Wow. This is Ecclesiastes 10 and 6. Folly is set in great dignity, and the rich sit in a low place.
Right. So we live in a world that's filled with folly, man. Which is why everywhere you see, you got folly. Even the whole, which we touched on earlier on, the whole Diddy stuff, right? Really, when you look, at the way it's presented. It's presented as just folly, as mass people talking about no Diddy, right? All of that sort of stuff. But really, when you look into it, there's a whole hella load of occultness that was going on. But the way it's being presented and packaged to the people, people are just looking at it as something of folly, as opposed to what it really is, which is deep, dark, a witchcraft, and that was going on, right? That Diddy guy is a demon, man, right?
Right? And if I can say as well, even that spirit of social media, the TikTok
Yeah.
spirit, that's completely taken over in the West.
That's it.
You people are just doing silly, stupid dances, silly, stupid challenges, pranks or skits.
Yeah,
You
which-
don't know what is real or not
Yeah.
real. Yeah.
Which nowadays, certain of them pranks, man, it's like, bro, was this supposed to be funny?
Come on, man.
That's why you're starting to get a lot of these a lot of these different you're watching stuff will be like, guys performing a prank, and it's just like he got arrested. Right, there was a guy who was spraying like pesticides. A guy in America spraying like pesticides on the banana, and then it was like, well, what are you doing? It's like, how is that supposed to be funny, right? But that's the world that Esau has created, right?
Some of them, they ain't dying, you know?
Yeah.
Was trying to remove what? A knickers. I mean,
Oh yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
He slipped. I mean, he was removing a knickers. You know? So he slipped. I mean, from the
Yeah, she was paragliding. Yeah, she was
Yeah.
paragliding. Yeah, something like that.
So she fell
One of
from
those
there,
paragliders. Yeah.
all the way.
Yeah,
Well, not today.
that's it.
Wow.
I remember it was as well. There was this couple. It was like Latin couple in the States somewhere. And basically it was like, you know, in Hollywood they show you if you shoot a gun, like what can stop it. She killed her husband, man. She killed her husband all for a bloody YouTube prank, right? But that's the world that Esau has created, so that people are looking at everything else as opposed to honing in on him, right? Which is why he'll have all of these different events taking place. But we, in our own minds, right, as the scripture's about to go and say, right, we kind of got to cut through all of that. Just be like, okay, BS. That's not even important, right? Or what is the deeper meaning about what they're actually talking about at this point in time? Once again, the Diddy thing, right? The elders are like, look, yeah, they're talking about the freak off, but really what they're not talking about, Slaki, is the thing that they were doing. They were basically having witchcraft ceremonies in those so-called freak off.
That's right. Yeah.
It goes on to say, for when they shall say peace and safety, then sudden destruction cometh upon them as travail upon a woman with child, and they shall not escape.
Which if you are, I remember reading of a brother one time, when you look like at a woman, right, when she is pregnant, she's in that season, she's about to give birth, right? To have maybe the first major contraction, the baby, but it's not time yet. But then as the time gets closer and closer, those contractions, they start happening more frequently and more and closer to each other. While you've been seeing over the last however long, you had those, you'd have something major would happen and then nothing for a long period of time.
Yeah.
But now it feels like there's something, to be paying attention to all of the time, man. Right? Why? Because we're coming into that season, right? But when it is ready, when it is time for that baby to come, i.e., this distraction, this destruction, right? Which before that you need what? You need the sun, i.e., the water to break, which in this analogy will be the MOTB, right? Before the baby comes in that, right? There's still stuff that happen, but for us, which you carry on in that, right? We understand that we're coming close to the end, man.
As goes on to say, but ye brethren are not in darkness, that day should overtake you as a thief.
Right. So why aren't we in darkness? If you grab either Mark 13:33 or Sirach 39, or in fact, it's because you're on the proper Mark 13:33 and Sirach 39, but then we'll come back then.
Mark 13:33.
Yeah. Quick and simple point.
And it said, Mark 13:33 says, "Take ye heed, watch and pray, for you know not when the time is."
That's it, right? Take your heed, watch and pray, for you know not when the time is. Because every now and then you'll get someone who'll try and come up and scoff. Oh, so when is it all going to happen? Hey, we don't know, right? However, right, the Lord has left clues, if you will, right? And sometimes I'll liken it to like bingo. You know, you get the game bingo,
Yeah.
right? But if you imagine like instead of numbers, it's different prophecy, right? And we're just ticking off these prophecies
That's right,
as we're getting close, and there's really not that many left, right? The one of the main things that we're looking towards is that MOTB, right? Because once we just go, you know, them ones there.
Yeah.
And if you've ever been in a room where people are playing bingo, they start getting excited when they just got one more number left, man. You know.
Yeah.
That's right. You both, you know, jump in as well.
I'll go quick one.
Okay,
Yeah. I'll go 2 Corinthians 2:11. Because you read we're not in darkness or ignorance. Yeah. So 2 Corinthians 2:11 it says, lest Satan should get an advantage of us, for we are not ignorant of his devices. And when you click in the word devices in the Greek word for device is noema, which the outline biblical usage is a mental perception, thought, an evil purpose. So yeah, so we got to stay occupied in prophecy, you know, in the spirit, and be, as read in Mark 13:33, watch and pray. But what are we watching for? Like alternative media, news, articles, and stuff like that. You know, these are like signs and symbols of prophecies taking place.
That's it.
Yeah, so we got to stay locked in, man.
Yeah. Which, if we build off of both Noema and that precept as a whole, right? Evil purpose. Okay, you understand that? Let's be real. Esau, to the spirit that the Lord has put on Esau, is he's got this goal. He's got this evil purpose, right? And we understand that evil purpose is to push out the MOTB and to have the whole world in subjection, and in the process of that, try to get rid of as many Jakes as possible. Right? So we understand that's his evil purpose and that's his end goal. So whenever we're seeing him push out anything, we're always breaking it down back to that purpose. Right? So when which, you know, I haven't been able to watch it. I saw it on my way here, right? Which, you know, both can watch it. Neuralink, Elon Musk just did a new video on Neuralink, posted it, so you know you can see what he's saying then. Right? But because we understand his evil purpose is to have the, you know, the either on the forehand or the right hand, we understand, okay, cool. How does that fit in to this evil purpose? That's how we're looking at the world. Everyone else, once again, because they're just in folly all the damn time, right? They're just looking at it as Neuralink. They're not looking at how it fits in with this bigger purpose, with this bigger image. When we're watching like Google VO or some of these different AI stuff, right, where it's, you know, with the AI videos, right now people are using it for folly. I don't know, you'll be seeing certain them clips, man, where it'll be like a polar bear being interviewed or some stuff like that. Or I saw one where it was like the gorilla. You know how you had that dumb thing about who would survive 100 men or the gorilla?
Yeah.
I saw one where it was the gorilla being interviewed, being like, look, man, I'll make sure I'll tear one of them up. Yeah. Right, you know what I'm saying? But you know, right now it's all laughing jokes. But we, once again, because we understand that Esau has an evil purpose, what do we think? We're thinking, damn, okay, well, Scripture says, right, that basically they're going to make enemies of the men of the Lord, and they're definitely going to use that technology to do so, right? If they can make anyone particular, if they can make an animal sit down on the panel, right? An animal that can't speak, sit down on the panel, and although you know it's an animal, you know, okay, it's a CGI, it's AI, or whatever, what have you. How much more so humans, man? You know? If you grab Sirach 39, and then we finish Thessalonians, and then we'll roll with it.
The book of Ecclesiasticus 39:1. But he that giveth his mind to the law of the Most High, and is occupied in meditation thereof, will seek out the wisdom of the ancient, and be occupied in prophecies.
That's it, man. So that's one of the things we're occupied in prophecies, right? When we're seeing things happening, we're trying to align. Okay, how does this event align with prophecy? That's why, for instance, that whole, you know, charade, right? That you know, little thing that they did between Iran and Israel, right? You had people that you know, they may not have said it, but people were tense, man. People were tense. It was like, oh shit, is this World War III?
Yeah,
you know, You see World War III trending on Twitter and stuff like that, right? But then, you know, do what you do the prophecies. We're able to be like, nah, no, we're still missing a few steps, right? We need that MOTB before this gets into a hot war, right? So that's one of the things. The prophecies allow us to, in fact, Salaki, real quick, can you grab 2nd Ezra's 9? Abu Kushar?
Second Ezra. We're going to start from the top.
Yeah, it's 9 on the top.
Second Ezra 9:1. He answered me then and said, measure thou the time, the regentry in itself.
Right. So measure the time, right? So, you know, I'll give this analogy. When you say measure something, when you measure length, use a ruler, right? When you measure weight, you use a scale. How do you measure time? Honestly, you use prophecy. How far along are we from now until the end? Yeah. You may say a clock, but clock just tells you the time now, right? But how do we measure the time from here until the end, until the new kingdom, right? Because this is 2nd Ezra 9, right? What is it saying real quick in verse 6, right?
Even so, I mean, Second Ezra 9:6. Even so, the times.
You know, I'm thinking 6 and 9. I've got them back in the order mixed up. It's 6 and 9. Esau's the end of the world, and Jacob's the beginning of it that follow it, right? Right. So that's what we're looking for. That's what we're waiting for. And one of the ways we do that and we measure that is by looking at the precept for the prophecy and how far along we are. And the thing is, right now, you can hear Apostle Tahar say, hey, we're now measuring in months, right? Whether that's 6 months, 12 months, 24 months. We're not talking about years. We're not talking about decades. Okay. We're certainly not talking about thousands. Right, because all the signs are there. The technology is speeding up. You're hearing the rhetoric from from these the puppets that the elites have set up, right? For RFK to straight talk about, yeah, man, you know, we thinking about wearables. We were like, whoa, you know, out of and once again goes to show you that these things can happen out of nowhere. Oh no, man, you know. So yeah, you may be like, oh, this needs to happen, that needs to happen. Look, they could have made the straight the Iran-Israel thing if it was in the if it was in the will of the Lord, they could have basically made it such that brought about an economic collapse, right? Because when you look into that whole Strait of Hormuz thing, right, that can just dead off, you know, that the knock-on effects can just dead off the world economy. And then as a back result of that, they could then force people to take the MOTV. That's how quick it would have been. It would have taken a couple of, maybe a month or two or whatever. So, you know, and that's why we're constantly talking about measuring the time and observing the times as well.
Everything you have to pay according to the prophet.
Exactly. Exactly. You know, and the most I was like, not just yet, right? Yeah.
The book of 2nd Ezra 4:37. By measure as he measured the times, and by number as he numbered the times, and he does not move nor steal them until the said measure be fulfilled.
So, don't you? Yeah, I was getting it.
Yeah, that's what I mean. The brother been saying, you know, everything has to be paid according to what? Most high will, or most high time, you know. So right now, you may see war here and there, you know. People are, and let's just move, more, you know. But the end is not yet, man. Because, there's other prophets need to come to pass, you know. As the brother may be saying, you know, the MOTB, the mark, let me say. Revelation 13:16. Have to come to pass, and then the end is going to come, and that's going to make all sense, you know, because the Bible, Revelation 14 says 9 and the 10. Those who are going to have, the technology under their skin, that they are the one going to be the target, you know, of that destruction, that fire.
Yeah, because if you ain't of the elect, man, when the Lord shoots them, has the elite shoot the missiles, right, on America, and the, you know, angels and the chariots doing their thing as well, right? If you ain't of the elect, you ain't beamed up, which if you got that MOTB, you ain't gonna be beamed up, right? You know, you're gonna burn there, man. No? Yeah, if we can finish off, unless you got more, we can finish off Thessalonians.
This is about Thessalonians again, 5 and the 4. But ye, brethren, are not in darkness, that day should overtake you
Yeah.
as a thief.
Yeah, because we're actively looking for that day, right? You know, we'll be observing, we'll be watching, we'll be getting, you know, excited, you know, because we understand it's not the end, right? When we're seeing certain of the things that we see, but we understand that we're going in the right direction. You know, it's just sort of like one opponent down. Okay, cool. Now we're into the next round. Okay, another opponent down. Okay, now we're into the next round. Okay, we understand that we're getting closer and closer to our end goal, our end destination, right? But that's why we're not asleep as other people, right? Other people, they just, you know, when's the next holiday? Yeah. Right? You know, we're of the mindset that anything can happen at any time. Okay, as was seen with, because you know, I remember just waking up Saturday morning, right? Saturday the 14th of June, right? I turned my data on. I was like, oh shit, you know, and that's how quickly. Excuse my French, but you know, that's how quickly, right? The world can change, man. You know, but we're looking for these things. People are looking for what? They're looking for peace, right? Yeah, they're looking for pleasure, and they're hoping. That's why, for instance, when they broke, when Trump so-called brokered that peace deal, right? People did what? Oh, okay, now we can go about. We understand. You know, this is just you know, just what's good. The analogy of birth pains, right? This is just afterwards. You know, you've gone to the hospital. The doctors have been like, nah, you know, it's not just yet. You know, everything, blah blah blah. The baby's not coming yet. And then you have to go back home, driving back home. But you know the baby could come.
Those was a teaser. It's the book of Second Ezra, 16 and the verse 7 say, but behold, the plague draw nigh, and they are not slack. As when a woman with child in the 9th month brings forth a son, within 2 or 3 hours of our birth, great pains compass our womb, which pains, when the child comes forth, they slack not a moment.
Winter, bro.
Yeah, that's
a precept.
That's the time that we're in. I mean, you mentioned before, like right now, there's a lot of events are happening around the world in a frequent, you know. Like, I mean, you may hear about, like, we just a couple of days we hear about war between Iran and the Israeli, but there are so many other stuff are happening as well. You know, there's so many going on. Like, after all the people, the earthquakes in diverse places. You know?
And it's a lot. But remember your point. But then the thing is, he will have you just focus on one thing, but this is it. It's like, that doesn't mean a whole load of other things aren't happening. You know what I'm saying? Like, they do a lot of focusing on, for instance, the Israel-Palestine thing. But then it's like you've got, I think it's in like the Congo, where you've got mass starvation or something. It's one of them places they're going through. Bro, do you even know about that one? You see, so the Lord is basically doing a lot at the moment, man. You know, but it's like carrying on.
Yeah, so the judgment are going on. You know, people are dying. You know, as the pride is everywhere. I mean, happening around the world. You know, so all these are the times that we're in. We're getting closer to the end of this society. You know,
that's it. Just a precept of what the brother just read. This is Matthew 24:32. Now learn a parable of the fig tree. When its branches yet tender and putteth forth leaves, you know that summer is nigh. Right? So just in nature, you've got certain signs, right? About, okay, now, like, for instance, you know, when it was cold, right? And we were still wearing the big jackets, but then you'd walk past the bush and then you'd smell like the flowers. You'll be like, oh, okay, spring's close. You'll be like, spring's close, right? Then it's the same thing, right? So it goes and says, so likewise ye, when ye shall see all these things, right, know that it is near, even at the door, right? So we're seeing these prophecies come to pass, and we're like, yo, this is near. Right? We're like, this is near, man. Right? You know, once again, you know, whether it be 6 months, 12 months, 24 months, however long it is, right? In fact, if you know, if I can grab this, and then you both can bring the precept as well, right? This is Habakkuk 2 and 3, right? So for the vision is yet for an appointed time, right? What's the vision? These prophecies. There's a set time when prophecy A, prophecy B, prophecy C has to come to pass. Okay, because it is all in the power and the order that the Lord Yahweh has set up. Right, but it says, but at the end it shall speak and not lie. Right, though it tarry, which basically, even I'm reading that now. I'm thinking of the precept which says, the Lord is not a man that he should lie. And then you link that also with Isaiah was 55:11, right? About how if the Lord says something, he's going to do it, right? So I'll read that again. So, but at the end, it shall speak and not lie, though it tarry. So though it seems like it's taken a long time, because once again, we're in these fleshly bodies and stuff like that, right? It says, wait for it. It will surely come, it will not tarry, right? So wait for it, because ultimately what the Lord has proposed, don't know what's it proposed, right? What the Lord has purposed, right, to happen is going to happen. Okay, and we're seeing it unfold right before our eyes, and that's a beautiful thing, man. Right, the scripture says in Sirach, right, for instance, is a beautiful thing to see the fall of your enemy, and that's
Lucky, bro.
you could get it in, man.
About 2 weeks ago, when I was at work, and I was where I work, there's like a laundrette, where Jake works. Older Jake, and he's Nigerian, and he was actually born in the UK as well, probably 7 years old. And he said, this is a good time to be alive. I said, why? He said, thank God that I'm still alive to see the fall of these Europeans in my life.
That's right.
Bro, I was just so excited when he said that, man. It's beautiful, man. He said that they're paying for what they did to our ancestors, man. We get to see it.
Yes. No, and
Yeah.
it's real, because this is it. You'll get a lot of people that will walk. A lot of these Edomites are hurt right now. I keep saying them. I saw one dude. One guy I used to work with, man. His mortgage would have gone up from one full to basically over two, gone up like $1,000 a month, right? Basically doubled, right? And I was just there like, bro, like he was okay. He had that's right. He had a shit ton of savings, right? So he was cool, right? But then I was just thinking, I was like, Ross, like how many other people are in that same situation, right? And this is the thing. Everyone, everyone buys a house that they can afford at the top, right? They buy it as much, because otherwise, you've got to be very disciplined, right? To be like, okay, I could buy this house. I can only really afford, but I'll go and buy a house half of what I can afford. Very few people would do that, okay? So I was just like, bro, like how many people right now are actually just hurt? But when you see them, they'll be all dressed up nice. They'll have the smile on their face and stuff like that. But they're through. This is it. Like a lot of people are through, and hey, it puts a smile on my face, right? Because when you're around these Edomites, they act like they're better than you, right? And this is the key thing, act. Because there's another thing. We work around you Edomites, man. Your facade don't work with us. We see that you're incompetent, right? And we understand that, when you look at the different empires of old, right? That it was Jake that was making those empires, right? It was Jake, because we're doing the same thing now. Because when we're basically around you, we're like, you don't know what the hell you're doing, man. You know what I'm saying? That's the Edomites, man. Yeah, whatever you want to get.
Listen, but ye brethren are not in darkness. That's this is Thessalonians 5 and the 4. But ye brethren are not in darkness, that day should overtake you as a thief.
Because we're looking for this day, right? We can't wait for this day, okay? Because we understand that the destruction of this man, right, brings about, brings us closer to our deliverance, right? If I can grab this real quick, right? 2 Peter 3:13 says, nevertheless, we, according to his promise, look for new heavens and a new earth wherein dwelleth righteousness, right? So that's what we're already yearning for. So when we're talking about this dark day, we're looking for the signs of it,
all the confusion that are going on around the world.
Yeah.
You walk on the street, you don't know. You know what I mean? You're seeing a woman or what?
Yeah.
Heard that before say about what? Now you're watching this video and
don't know if it's real or not.
It's real or not,
Yeah.
And we are living in the dark, society. When you confuse, it's so sad.
So make that point again, bro. No, it's
So he said, like, I mean, all confusion.
the whole confusion. Yeah. Hey, and you know what it is? I remember a reasoning, like not even remember. It's like you be reasoning with different arguments, and it's like regardless of what the topic is, the conclusion's always the same. Man, we just gotta get out of it.
Yeah.
Regardless of what the topic is, it may not even be something that's quote unquote that deep, right? You'll get to. He's like, man, we need to get up out of here, man. You know, because that's just the nature of this world. Once again, we're around these Edomites, right? You gotta, which we understand that's part of our punishment, isn't it? Part of our punishment is to be underneath these Edomites. In fact, if we can, real quick, I mean, if we could get it as market too, but then also if we get Ecclesiastes 10 and 7 this time, right? But yeah, if you grab market 2 as well, I'll probably get that one. Well. Micah 2 and 10, this is, arise ye and depart, for this is not your rest. Yeah. Because it is polluted, it shall destroy you, even with a sore destruction. Yeah, so it's not our rest, meaning what? This society, this world of Esau, which is wicked, is not our peace. It's full of, how can you have rest in a society that's full of oppression? Yeah, it's designed for you to be destroyed, designed for you to be confused, designed for you to not even know your true nationality and identity. Yeah, designed for you to not worship your power, your how Bashmishaitim, in goodness. It's, the whole world of East is full of distractions, man. Distractions, wickedness, gone.
Yeah, the food as well.
The food, yeah, the food is supposed to be something to to keep you alive, to keep you going, functioning, and to have a better and stronger immune system. But everything that Esau brews, with FDA and stuff like that, it's designed to poison you, man.
Yeah, what you call it? The way that Esau removed the woman from the house has caused a shitload of problems, man.
That's a big thing,
Because I did what you call a lesson the other day, right? Which real quick, if you can get me Ezekiel 4:13, right? And if you come here real quick, bro, if you just grab Ezekiel 4:13.
Nah. What? Yeah, 4:13.
4 and 13. The Lord said, even thus shall the children of Israel eat their defiled bread among the Gentiles, whither I will drive them.
That's it. And that's what we do, man. All of the food that we eat is defiled, right? But when you look, like, so I did one on you go online, you see certain things. I saw something about wheat in itself, right? Because right now, everybody, we live in a world. You're scared of the carb, man. You be having that naan bread feeling hella guilty, man. Because it's just gonna sit there for hella long, and this that, and the other, right? But when you look at most like Eastern societies, like they say, like quote unquote, as they call it, the Middle East, right? Them, man, like bread is a staple, right? Bread's a staple, but then not only that, you look through historically, where that's just something that we were eating it all the time. Right, but nowadays, once again, people are scared of a carb or two. Right, so I was looking into it. Right, so it's like the majority when you're dealing with wheat, the majority of its nutrients goes very quickly. Right, but you see it after like 14 days, it's lost a lot of its nutrients. And then forget the white stuff. Right, that white flour basically, so it was like something like 10% of the nutrients is in the flour. Right, because they basically, in part of the refining process, have taken a whole load of stuff out. And the thing is, as well, right, is you have what's this thing called? Like when you basically doing like the wheat and the wheat germ, I forget the terminology. That is, say, oily, and that makes it grow a mold. It makes it go moldy a lot quicker. Right. So once again, going back to this point about how Esau taking the woman out of the house has affected so much, right? Because in the ancient world, what were women doing daily? They were they were grinding the wheat, right? All of this idea of, you're having bread that has to last for 2 weeks because there's no one that's going to grind it every day, right? That's a modern thing, and in the same process has done what? It's made people sick, right? Even in that, when I was looking into, it was even going into how more so it was more sourdough type breads that we were eating back then, because really the modern day yeast that we have, right? That's something that got cultivated, that got I don't know the scientific terminology, isolated maybe in like I don't want to say the 70s, but you know, something that's a recent invention, right? And that's why once again you're seeing people that have bread and they start bloating up, they're feeling sick and everything, right? But then if you once again if you you rework that society such that actually, you know, you got the woman at home and she is cooking, she's making clothes. That's another thing as well, right? Like they did this experiment where they basically put like a polyester pants on the dogs, right? And then the dogs became infertile, bit more or less. But what do you see? The 90% of these women wearing Lululemon, right? They won't be wearing any underwear. So it's like that. Those chemicals are just seeping directly into their system. And that's why, once again, when all is said and done, regardless of the conversation, whether it's food, whether it's clothing, whether it's work, right? Whether it's having a family, this man's just got to go. That's the I don't want to say the first bit, I'll say it afterwards. Right, but that's the only solution. I'll say it like that. This man's got to go.
Every aspect of life, Esau has destroyed.
Yeah,
Or just made it worse.
quick. You know, it's on what the brother just said. This is Habakkuk 2 and 4. 2 and 5, Salaki says, yea, also because he transgressed by wine, philosophy. And in this topic, one of those philosophies, a strong philosophy, mind you, right, is that feminism, man. Okay, it says he is a proud man, neither keepeth at home, who enlarges his desire as hell and is as death. Right, so as the brother was going into, man, right, everything that Esau does is deathly, brings forth death, right, and all of his policies are policies of death. Okay,
People, you know.
yeah,
Actually, I mean, Trump is.
yeah, because when you end, it's why, man, certain times I just think about how conniving Esau is. And I'm just like, yo, the Lord made the perfect devil, man.
Perfect devil, man.
Right? Because once again, like Esau taking a woman out the house has allowed so much of these knock-on effects, right? The fact that nowadays it's like if you're a parent, you don't spend most of your time with your children.
Yeah.
Your children spend most of their time, you know, in other entities with teachers.
Yeah.
Right. Strange people.
Yeah.
And you know what else it is? It's like, because I think about it sometimes.
Yeah.
I'll be at the job, right? And there'll be a freak, right? The thing is, they may be, you know, what they call like they say, oh, he goes both ways, right? But he'll walk around as if he's just a straight guy. But every now and then he'll get backshotted, right? Because there was a guy, it came out that at my old job, it came out that this was what my man was on, right? And I was like, bruh, so you would have a youth, and then now my child has to go to school with your child, but you're that way, that's where your mind is. So obviously that's how you're going to raise up your child. And then now my child has to go to school with your child. And what's that going to do? That's going to bring a confusion. That's why, like, for instance, your child will be behaving normally. You send them to nursery, all of a sudden they come back, they're biting, they're being rude. You're like, yo, what's going on here? Right? But let me finish it, right? It says, and is as death and cannot be satisfied, but gathereth unto him all nations and heapeth unto him all people. That's why you end up with these different melting pots. And another thing that I kind of think about, right, is the fact that he has used these melting pots. Like, for instance, America's a major melting pot, London's a major melting pot. But I know you're going to take this. That right foot right. Perfect. To the feet. All right, slow. I'm even today. Yeah, but in creating these mountains, what do these people still have that live here? They still have their family back home, right? So what are they doing? Whereas Auntie so and so back in Ghana, right, would have stayed with her husband. She's got a cousin here that's like, you don't have to stand up for that. You can leave him and all of that, and that's how you end up with the mess of this world that you have it today, man. Okay.
Jeremiah 31 and 22. Jeremiah 31, 22. How long wilt thou go about over our backsliding daughter? For the Lord have created a new thing in the earth. A woman shall compass a man. Yeah, and that's what the new thing is. That feminism, man. And just because it's a new thing doesn't mean it's a good thing. That's okay. You know what I
That's
mean?
a video title.
You know what I mean? Just because it's a new thing doesn't mean it's a good thing. Because back in the empire, was it the Persian Empire?
Yeah, Vashti.
Vashti, you know, she was
That's
being
true.
hella disrespectful to the king, man. Right? And the elders of those Persians were looking at and saying to the king, look, man, if this attitude and her ways get spread across, you know, all these women will follow it, and you know, basically it will be a disdain to our kingdom, man.
I mean, that, and you got to really think about that. That's how deep it was. Because in the realms of this world, right? What she in the realms of this world, the realms of this world, what she did wasn't quote unquote that deep. He called for her, and then she didn't come, right? And now you, oh yeah, but maybe she was on a period, or maybe she didn't feel like, or maybe this, or maybe that, right? That's what you would hear in this world, right? Oh no, why did you break up with her? Hold it, she didn't come. We broke up for that. I'm just talking once again in the realms of this world, right? But over back then, they were like, nah, total disrespect, right? And mind you, this was the king as well, right? Which added to the disrespect, because as the king, you sanction whether a man lives or dies. You know what I'm saying, right? So the princes, as the bro was going into, right? They were like, yo, this is mad, right? This is a disrespect, right? And then, but then you think about some of the imagery that you see on this side. I always remember there was a clip where Obama's sitting in the Oval Office and Michelle's backing them up. Then the recent one with Macron and his wife, right? And then she, I think, slapped him or something like that, right? So that what imagery is that telling the people? In fact, real quick, Sirach 10, real quick. What imagery is that telling the people? It's telling the people, like, look, man, if even the king, if the king can't control his woman, who are you to control me? And that's as Bob was going into that account with Vashti. That's why the princes basically drew the conclusion. Yeah, I was like, look, man, gotta sort this out. If the word of this gets out, bro, that ruins a kingdom, because you've now allowed insubordination to take root. Because if you're the king and you let it slide, then we as princes, how can we let it slide? And then the regular man, he's fucked.
And that's true. I mean, most of these, empire hold things they get the wisdom compared to what we have right now under Esau Edom, man.
Yeah. Oh, well, but this is the thing though, because Esau knows what the right way is.
Yeah.
He just pushes the wrong way for the rest of the people because he understands that it brings about degeneracy. He understands it brings about death, right? But this is it. Certain of these chemicals, he knows that they're killing people.
But himself is insane.
Exactly.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I mean, it's,
Oh yeah. I get what you're saying. Yeah, I get what you're saying.
wisdom. You understand that.
That's it. Yeah, please.
This is the book of Ecclesiasticus 10, I'm start from 1. It says, a wise judge will instruct his people.
Right. So there are certain things, and what the account of the brother was referencing, that was a counsel of wisdom, man. That was like, look, man, we need to, because that was really an instruction to the rest of the women, right? When Ahasuerus did that, that was an instruction to the rest of the women. It's like, yo, you better fucking respect your man. Swearing a lot, salah, right? But you better have respect unto your husband, basically, okay? Because they understood the repercussions of that long term, right? But then also kind of goes into the mercy he's going to talk about. It's into the mercy, where I'm showing you that it's the Lord that has power. Because when Esther rolled up into him, really that was a disrespect, because he's the king. No, like I believe it's like, I forget whether it was anyone or where it was specifically a woman, couldn't just go up into the king's court like that. You know what I'm saying? So just going to show you as well, just how you got these different things, but ultimately it's the Lord that puts the rules and regulations and what happens in certain situations. Okay.
But Esther, she understood as well, Like, I mean, this is the test, I mean.
Yeah. You know,
What's that?
I'm
So you got more
finished.
A wise judge will instruct his people, and the government of a prudent man is well ordered.
But then when you once again when you look at this world, what does Esau portray to the people? He portrays that his governmental systems are completely messed up and out of order. Right? Here it is, the elites, they you know they have a rough understanding, you know, of what they're doing. But what they present of these, you know, presidents, the politicians and stuff is chaos, right? And then people are thinking, you know, everything then is by chance, despite the fact that the elites are working towards a different an agenda, if you will, right? But they're using this incompetence almost as a shield, if you will. Okay.
It goes on, as the judge of the people is himself, so are his officers.
Mm.
And what manner of man the ruler of the city is, such are all they that dwell therein.
Right. So that's it. There's an understanding of how the top is, right? So is everything underneath it. Okay. Which what you know reason why we brought that out was you know brother quoted Esther, but that's why that was so important what he did, right? What Ahasuerus did, because he understood that everyone is looking up, you know, and basically taking an example from him, and even to you know in a lower level, that's why we ourselves, right? You know, we have to be careful about how we carry ourselves, you know, on video, no, but not only on video, but around arguments, stuff like that, because there are people that are watching, right? You know, young brothers, they'll be watching how you know what it is that you're doing, right? They may not articulate it, but in the back of their mind, because you know, back of their mind, you're like, oh, so and so did that, you know, etc. Right? So that's why even in our own self, we've got to be careful how we, you know, maneuver, man, right? Because at the end of the day, man, there is going to come a time when the Lord's just going to open them floodgates, man, right? He's going to start seeing a whole load of people in. Are you suggest something?
Yeah, I've got something on the point you just made. Yeah. So, there's people out there watching. Just a little bit.
Just because it's on the point, grab this and we'll finish up.
It says Matthew 5:19. It says, "Whosoever therefore shall break one of these least commandments and shall teach men so, he shall be called the least in the kingdom of heaven. But whosoever shall do and teach them, the same shall be called great in the kingdom of heaven." I bring that scripture to say this because what you mentioned there's other potential brothers out there watching us, man. And sometimes it's not only you learn from what people say, directly from the scriptures, but your mannerisms and how you act and how you behave. You know, you can teach in that way too. So you got to be careful what you're teaching and doing.
Once again, we was talking about children before.
Yeah.
Hey, children, they're sponges, man.
Yeah.
Right, they're sponges. They'll, like, for instance, like, if say you got a child they're always on their phone, right, but they always yo man, stop being on your phone all the damn time, and you go back on your phone.
Yeah.
The child's gonna be like, especially if they're young or whatever, depending on how old, because you get children like 2 years old now on phones and that, man. Right. Whereas if you yourself are say reading a book in front of the child's gonna be like, oh, you know, I'm gonna you know go join my parents and that. You know, they're reading, I'm gonna go read, right? But then even when you look at the apostles, was one of the things that they push. They push doing videos all the time. But guess what? They lead by example. That's it. They lead by example. They're doing videos all the time. You know, even to the point where you might go on the channel, you'd be like, oh, in a video? Maybe the channel's got a strike because you're so used to, you know, that work ethic, you know, leading by example.
Right.
You know? That's it. Do you want to go back to finish this one off?
You say, Ecclesiasticus 10:3, an unwise king destroys his people, but through the prudence of them which are in authority, the seat shall be inhabited. The power of the earth is in the hand of the Lord, and in due time he will set over it one that is profitable.
That's good.
Yeah. So that's it. That's the way the society we're in is ruled by bunch of for lack of a better word, I'm just saying like unwise people or unwise rulers. You know, that's why they push all these philosophies, you know, and the idea that they destroy the mind of the people, destroy the society. You know, like one of them is what LGBT. You know what? You know, the alphabet people. You know, that's a mischief is going on around the world right now. You know, create confusion and the what come out of that is death. You know, so that's the sort of side that we're in. You know, it's all full of rebelliousness. You know, no observation of the Heavenly Father. You know, so there's nothing good actually going on. Yeah. So in due time, Messiah is going to set one which is profitable, which is going to begin with the Lord, man. Yahweh Shai Masha, you know, whom you people the word ignorant according to Jesus Christ, and the less of 144,000, the governing body, you know, to show the word how to live righteous, how to benefit with the earth. You know,
That's it, and that's why I don't know if you was holding anything, but
yeah, go ahead.
okay. After we can read into Isaiah the 2nd chapter and what the brother just said, right? But that's why, because you know, when you look at this world and how it's run, right? It's just once again you just draw the conclusion that you just need a reset, man.
Reset.
All right, you know, we can be a Klaus, we can agree on that one. You know, a reset is needed, right? But a righteous one ain't gonna be your reset, right? Because you know the what Esau wants is to push people further down into the degeneracy, right? But we understand that. Look, man, the earth is in mourning, right? Even you know, which is twofold. But even in Isaiah, it says, you know, the trees are going to be like, oh, right. It says the whole earth is at rest, right? That's what it says. This is the whole earth is at rest, right? So what is it at now? It's not at rest. You've got drilling, fracking, you know, mining. But the thing is, the way that Esau doesn't just do something, he goes into excess, right? And that's why it says it. We read it in Habakkuk, the 2nd chapter, about how he is as death and cannot be satisfied, right? Which is why, like, for instance, in certain nations, right, gold and silver ain't up like the country where I was born in Zimbabwe. Gold and silver is like, yeah, you just be in a backyard. My mom shows on the phone. She was like, oh yeah, there's a little bit of gold there. I was like, oh, okay, can't, all right. You know, but it's the problem because it's just there like, well, okay, now how are you going to protect that? You know what I'm saying? That's why, you know, I didn't make too much of a big deal about it. So how are you going to protect that? You know what I'm saying? You know?
You're still going to come with the bones, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
Drop the bones and stuff like that. You know?
Exactly. But in that kind of line, so you have those kind of resources just everywhere. In what you call it, the Grand Tour, the final episode was in Zimbabwe. They kind of made a joke about that. You know how they just went and it was buying lots of silver and lots of gold because it was just abundant. What does Esau go and do? Right, when he went to the Americas, what did he go and do? Right, he basically made fun of of our brothers Gad and Reuben because it was like there was gold in the streams. Esau was like, why are they taking the gold from the stream? Right, not understanding there's certain purposes to these things. You know, one of my favorite animals, man, the beaver. Right, the thing is, before I didn't know too much about the beaver, innit? You know, a while ago, about a couple of years back, I remember just researching into the beavers, and beavers are hella important to the ecosystem. That's right. The dams that they build are super duper important to ecology, right? To a local kind of system, right? They basically say that outside humans, beavers are like the most land shaping animals that there is, right? Because when they're building their dam, it helps stop flooding, right? Those pools are then important for like any kind of life that's now going to live in those pools that they've basically been in the flood that comes from the dam that they built, right? And it's so ingrained in them. You know, there was one video of like a beaver. He's in a sanctuary, right? And then he sees a doorway, and he starts just bringing toys to put in the doorway because it's so embedded into him. Right, that you know, if there's a hole, you have to close the hole. Once again, just showing you the power of the Lord, but also the fact that nature works well, and it's Esau that's the problem. That's it, nature works well, right? Esau's a problem, man. Esau in his movies and series makes it seem like the world won't run without him. That's gonna run better without him, man. So we quoted, which you know, unless bro's much, I'll just grab that. Bro's got something. The whole earth is gonna be at rest.
I mean, I believe, Elder Rafa has been saying, like, even the Bible say, like, all these, basic needs, like, you need the sword, you need the fire, so all are good, is it?
Yeah.
For the use of man. But it depends how you use it, you know? Like, you may have a knife. Knife is for you, it's going to It's going to simplify your work, your work, I mean, whatever you are doing.
That's it.
You know, like cutting meat and stuff like that. But some people may use knife in the wrong way
That's
to
it.
destroy other life. You know,
That's it.
destroy other. I mean, kill other people. You know, the same as like in nuclear. You know,
Well, sex is a perfect example.
Yeah.
Sex has a purpose, but Esau has bastardized that purpose, man, to a point where everyone just, is just, well, in Esau's, well, literally everyone's popping everyone, man. Right? Like adultery's rampant.
Yeah.
Incest. Right? They keep trying to, what you call it? They love trying to push that kind of, stepmom and all. That's wickedness, man. Okay. But here it is, the Most High made sex to have a purpose in the world, right? Be fruitful and multiply. That's what we're told. But Esau's basically made sex a recreational thing because, as you can see from all of the stats from all over the world, no one's motivated.
come on.
You know?
Yeah, what is wrong with having a beautiful virgin? It's just yours.
Oh, you can't talk about virgins, brother.
I mean, particularly,
Not in this world.
yeah, this world encourages you to have used up women.
Yeah.
Used up women, mileage. They've been through so much trauma, broken relationship. Yeah, which enables them to pair bond in the future.
Yeah, disable.
Disables them. Yeah. See, so it's all effed up, man.
And Esau knows this. That's why he pushed these things and he ruined cultures and is actively ruining cultures that still try and maintain that way of life. But
Yes, sir. I just tell brother, like you mentioned about beaver, isn't it?
Yeah.
About, I mean, how they shape, I mean, the water, I mean,
Yeah.
you know. I got, I mean, another one like elephant as well. They pray, I mean, about the role, I mean, in shaping the landscape. I mean,
Yeah.
But I mean, just a little bit of me. I say like elephant play a vital role in the shaping landscape.
Vital role.
Yeah.
And it's like the reason why I mentioned the beaver was when Esau went over to the Americans, what did he do? He killed off all the damn beavers. And then after was like, oh, these are actually kind of important. Right. And what they do with the elephants? They're killing them for their tusks. And then they may be like, oh yeah, that's the Hamites that live there, or oh yeah, that's the Elamites or Moabites that live where those elephants. But ultimately, what are they killing them for? Right, to profit and benefit in your system, man. Right? Sorry, carry on, bro.
They say creating waterways, they carve pathways through dense vegetation, dig for water, and even create interconnected water systems by merging isolated ponds and rivers.
That's it.
This I'll go quick one. This is Psalms 104, verse 24. It says, "O Lord, how manifold are thy works! In wisdom hast thou made them all. The earth is full of thy riches. So is this great and wide sea, wherein are things creeping innumerable, both small and great beasts."
Yeah.
That's it. So the Lord has created these creatures for purpose, man. Yeah, to help the earth, help mankind. Yeah, it helps because the earth goes through cycles, man.
Yeah.
You know. So these animals are put in place to do a job. You know.
Yeah. Oh, and
Even the fish, isn't
yeah, they clean it. Yeah.
They clean the, I mean, the ocean,
The oceans, yeah. Clams.
But what is it?
You know.
I'm delicate.
So advertising as well. Yeah. That was good because you know what it is when you look at like unclean fish. Those the well-to-do never used to eat them. Like I forgot who I was speaking, but they were even talking about I think it was like crabs. That was like prison food. But now look, now, babe, I want you to take me lobster and steak.
Yeah, red dog.
And all of that sort of stuff. But those are bombs. Now they're things that are what's that fucking big slut. Excuse my language out here. The Biggie's track lyric, man. I used to eat sardines for dinner. Well, sardines are clean, man. They
That's
could
right.
be a health, man. When he said that, he was saying, now I'm eating lobster. That's really what he was. Now I'm eating lobster
Yeah.
and shrimps, right? Caviar. All that stuff is abominable, man. Let me grab this. Sirach 39:16, right? It says, all the works of the Lord are exceeding good, and whatsoever he commandeth shall be accomplished in due season, right? So all the works of the Lord are good, man, right? The things that he has created, even the storyline that we're living right at the moment, right? Because this is we're just living the Lord's storyline. You know what I'm saying? We're just living the Lord's storyline, right? But at the end of the day, it's all good. It's, you know, the Lord made everything in its perfection. In fact, when you read Genesis, the first chapter, what does it say? It's at the end of like each day, it says, "Oh, and the power said it was good," right? You know, because even like you both mentioned different animals, like you have like for instance snakes, right? So an animal that is feared almost unanimously throughout the world, right? But you look at a rattlesnake, yo, you get bit by a rattlesnake, hey man, you better hope the Lord's with you. Yeah. You know, like Paul when he got bit by the viper, right? But the Lord was with him, right? But those have purposes. You've got vermin infestation. Snakes are great.
Dude, kill off them rats, man. Rodents.
You know what I'm saying? Everything in this world, even let's be real, even mosquitoes, and mosquitoes be killing a hell of a load of people, right? By way of malaria and stuff like that, right? But mosquito larvae is important in the food chain, right? Fish eat that. But what is my man in his great wisdom want to do? I'm gonna exterminate all the mosquitoes, right? But people look up to this devil. It was one of them ones I remember reading. I'm not even like a biologist. I was like, wait, you're gonna take something out the ecosystem. That can't be a good idea. You know?
I remember I saw one video where Esau just wanted to exterminate wasps.
Yeah.
Why, man? But the wasps, sorry, but the wasps, they're natural like what is it, pesticides, you could say. Well, like they help take away other insects when you're trying to grow
Other
crops.
pests.
So they're natural. They sting other pests. So to help grow your fruits.
That's it. And I don't know, do wasps do pollinating as well? Yeah, because they go near the thing. You know. So in one hand he's saying we need to save the bees. But in the other hand he's saying we need to get rid of the wasps. This man just needs to go. You know, and that's why we read earlier on in Sirach, the 10th chapter, about one that is profitable, because he's trying to do everything but follow the laws. They do pollinate, You know, so that's anything about the natural world. You need pollinators, okay? But he's still trying to get rid of them, right? So what we got? I'll go Isaiah 14 if no one's got anything. Yep. Isaiah 14 from 4. It says that thou shalt take up this proverb against the king of Babylon and say, how hath the oppressor ceased? The golden city ceased, right? Which, when you look at Esau, right, he is the oppressor, man. Right? Everyone out here is hurt. Someone can get real quick Proverbs 29 and 2, right? Everyone out here is hurt. We kind of talked about earlier on, just, the fact that people be struggling under the weight of their mortgages and stuff like that, right? But that's just internally. But look at externally, right? What do they call when they did those 6 bombings of those Iranian nuclear sites? What do they call it? Operation Midnight Hammer, man. Right? Sure. Makes you think of how the hammer of the whole earth ceased. Okay. So Esau just goes around oppressing everyone, right? Oppressing a man and his heritage, oppressing everything, man. Right? So it says, the Lord hath broken the staff of the wicked and the scepter of the rulers. He who smote the people in wrath with a whoop and the continual stroke. He that hath ruled the nations in anger is persecuted and none hinder. Right? And before I carry on, you've got Proverbs?
Yeah. This is Proverbs 29 and 2. It says, when the righteous are in authority, the people rejoice. But when the wicked bear rule, the people mourn. That's right. So when the people that are righteous, which is starting from who? Yahweh Shai, our Lord and Savior. Then eventually the elect, which are the future rulers of the world. Yeah. When we're gonna be put in place, Lord willing, guess what? People are gonna know true peace and happiness, man. Peace and harmony, righteousness. Like in the Disney movies, living happily ever after. Yeah. That's gonna be a reality when we're in the kingdom.
That's our storyline.
That's our story.
Because that was the Disney storyline, right? It's someone who you got a character, right? He's at the top, right? And then he goes up, but then he has a grateful.
That's it, yeah.
Oh, I gotta say that. He has a fall. He felt like no one has ever fallen. And let's be real, we feel like no one's ever fallen. Right? Oh, forget our phrase based on a piece. What is something like what nation has basically gone through? Yeah, yeah, because we had a great fall, man. You know, when you look at well, in fact, when you look at today, here it is where the Lord's chosen people. When you look at Jake right now, right, and the things that Jake be doing, the way Jake be carrying themselves, you look at the sexy reds, the Jakes, they'll just have their whole faces tatted up and stuff like that.
Straight shame, man.
A straight shame, right?
Fighting on the street.
Yeah, fighting on the
For
street
no, I mean,
for no reason.
step on Jordan,
Man, don't step on the niggas, Jordan. You know,
Stabbing each other.
stabbing each other. Yeah, legit. Evil to his brother.
Yeah.
Right here is you be doing your best to be an upstanding citizen. Right, you be at work, innit? You know, you carrying yourself. Obviously, we're in the streets, so we carry ourselves good anyway. But you be carrying yourself good. You're at work, right? And then would you call it either the heathens round the bus? He's different. But then would you call you? Then they'll see some niggas nigging, right? And it's wait, no, they're all that's all they are, right? So we've been brought lost. Wait, I'm trying to filibuster all this, brother. I was looking for the precept.
Yeah.
the Zion
Jordan, I mean, no,
Yeah, you got that, but it's like what nation
yeah, what
has
nation? I've gone through that.
yeah. Let me see if I can find it
Yeah,
like this.
that way. What nation?
Because it's like as a nation, we the Lord had it such where we came low, right? Just had a quick look.
That's Maccabees 2:10.
Nah, it
No,
doesn't sound like it.
Nation have not had a part in the kingdom and got enough boys.
No, that one. But I mean, we brothers can look for our own. Right? But as a nation, we got brought down low to the very low, right? But guess what? Now we're on that redemption arc, right? Where the redemption arc part of the story, right? Where things you went low, slowly, surely building himself up. But and at the end, what shall live happily ever after, man? That's our storyline. Right, because you hear the pulls up, like, yeah, man, these they just get their story from the scriptures, and a lot of these stuff you read, it's like, oh, they just stole that from the scriptures, right? Like Kung Fu Panda, that's straight stolen from the scriptures, man. That's King David. When you look at certain of the parallels with Kung Fu Panda, they're basically playing off of King David, man, right? But, yeah, I think it's like Isaiah or Psalms or something. Here's where it is. Let me carry on. So Isaiah 14:7 now, right? It says the whole earth is at rest and is quiet. They break forth into singing, right? Which is the point of why we even brought out Isaiah 14 anyway, because it was back earlier on, was kind of just talking about the fact that he thinks that this world can't live without him, but it's like, no, the world is going to be better without you. That's right, right? And that's one of the reasons why we look forward to your downfall, because at the end of the day, it's like Esau brings nothing but death, right? It says, yea, the fir trees rejoice at thee, and the cedars of Lebanon, saying, since thou art laid down, no fellow is come up against us, right? Which, that's twofold, but even just on the point, it's like Esau would just go and just cut down a shitload of trees. It's like I said, excuse my language there. Mass deforestation. Right, you're just cutting down all of the trees, right? And it will be for what? It will be just to have a steak, right? To raise cows in a place where he's doing it. What's the word? Out of balance, like, right? He's doing it out of balance, man. Right? Because steak is good. Well done. You put a seasoning on it, or you serve it up. Some veg and stuff like that. Well done, and all of that sort of stuff. Right, steak is good, right? But the world Esau has created, he's made it in imbalance. Okay, and that's why ultimately the nations, as referred to in Isaiah the 2nd chapter, right? When they see how it is that we're running the world, right, they're going to be coming up to us, being like, "Yo, this is what's up," right? Because we're going to be at the top, right? And as the elders going in, there is a chosen people, right? It's just that the people that are calling themselves chosen, have done nothing but bring evil into this world. So now there's a hatred towards the idea of a chosen, right? But in the kingdom, right, even when they're getting their ass whooped, they're gonna be like, yo, I see it. I see it. Yeah, they're the chosen, you know, because there ain't even gonna be no doubt about it. Because right now, people question if that man are the chosen.
This nigga.
Right? No, I'm saying about them, man.
Oh, yeah,
Right in
yeah.
our land, right? They question us like, well, they are. How are they the chosen? Look, man, in the kingdom of Israel, you gonna know.
You're gonna know, man.
You gonna know. We souped up, everything shining.
Shining.
Shine.
So,
You
brother, even now, Jake, on a lower level, more spectacle. You know? People are in awe of us. Look at these people; they have so much soul and flavor. Look at the way they dance. Look at the way they sing.
Yeah. Look at how they
take
think.
over. Yeah, how they think. Yeah.
How they think. That's the thing. Esau wants us to stay in that realm where we only talk about the physical attributes.
We're actually intelligent too.
Right, but we're significantly more intelligent. And that's why I keep saying it's like, look, we work around you heathens, man. Right? Elam is, certain times it's like, which one of these heathens is the worst?
Yeah,
Because Elam will be trying to be hella proud of you, but he don't know anything. Right? He's just a good regurgitator. Right? But then it's like with the Edomites, what you call it, they're used to the whole quote unquote PC thing. So they may come across as if they're listening to your idea better. But Elam, Moab, right, they'll just be looking at you like you don't know what you're talking about. But then you hear their ideas and you're like, bro, that's dumb. You know that's what it's there. It's stupid. Right, but that's part of our punishment, the fact that we're under it. Here it is, we're better than you heathens. Right, but we're under, as we read in Ecclesiastes 10 and 7, right? You know, we're under you at this point in time, right? And that's part of the suffering is understanding that although we are better than these heathens, part of our punishment is that we just got to be here, right? Until the Lord allows us up out of this position. Huh?
I've got Isaiah 2.
Right, you can read up. Yeah.
It's Isaiah 2 from the top.
I mean, this is goodbye.
Isaiah 2 from the top, it says the word Isaiah, the son of Amos, saw concerning Judah and Jerusalem. Yeah? All the tribes, the 12 tribes of Israel. And it shall come to pass in their last days. Yeah? Key words, last days. So this is prophetic. This needs to happen. And it's going to happen. But the mountain of the Lord's house shall be established in the top of the mountains. Yeah?
Perseverance.
Yeah, the mountain represents the government heads, starting with the elect of Israel. Okay, and it says, and shall be exalted above the hills, and all nations shall flow unto it. Yeah. So the mountains represent Israel is going to be established high, exalted above every other nation, man.
Yeah, it's lucky. Let's hold that.
Yeah,
That's good. We'll come back to that.
No problem.
We'll grab this real quick.
It's the book of Daniel 9 and 12. And he has confirmed his words, which he spake against us and against our judges that judged us by bringing upon us a great evil.
Mm-hmm.
For under the whole heaven has not been done as been done upon Jerusalem.
That's it. So not as nothing, no other nation has gone through what we've gone through. Right? No other nation has gone through what we've gone through. And worst thing is we're the Lord's chosen. Right? Which is why the punishment for doing such thing is going to be so great. What does it say? It says, he that toucheth you, right, toucheth the apple of his eye. Right? Because we're the apple of Yahweh's eye. We're the apple of the Lord's eye. And these different heathen nations took it in turns. Right? And that's why I even mentioned earlier on about these different heathens. Right now, in Esau's kingdom, but these different heathens, they're still eating the crumbs, man. Yeah. But they're still eating the crumbs. They're still, when they get the chance, they're still trying to kick Jake. Right? Hey, but it's in your interest, man, to stop behaving yourself. Which you ain't, right? Why? Because at the end of the day, that wasn't your settings. You're just gonna have to have a foot up your ass, right? Which is why what we're about to read again in Isaiah the 2nd chapter, right? When this has happened, you different heathens are gonna be in subjection, man. In fact, before we continue that, what was you gonna get? Okay, we'll get Isaiah 60. Well, we start talking about these different heathens bringing their stuff, from like 10 and stuff like that. Right, because we're coming up into it, as hard as it is for these different heathens to believe, you are going to serve us, right, whether you like it or not. But when you start serving us, I'll grab that real quick. and we'll grab that, and then we'll go back there. Right? So Romans 8 and what was it, 35? Right? Not 35, 23. What was the one? What's the one? It says, oh yeah, 19, Salakia. Romans 8:19, for the earnest expectation of the creature waiteth for the manifestation of the sons of the Most High. So deep down, these different heathen nations, they're actually waiting for us to come and take a root and power, right? Because and this not just heathen nations, creation itself, right, is waiting for us to be in our right mind and to govern this world, right? Because everything and everyone is suffering, right? Especially under the thumb of this Edomite, man. Right? That's what we're looking forward to the kingdom. One of the reasons. Okay. Yep.
Of Isaiah 6:9 and 59, sure the highest shall wait for me, and the ships of Tarshish first to bring thy sons from far, their silver and their gold with them, and to the name of the Lord thy power, and to the Holy One of Israel, because he has glorified thee. And the sons of strangers shall build up thy walls.
What does that sound like? Well, that sounds like slavery to me, right? It sounds like the fulfillment of what was it, Deuteronomy 32 and was it 7, right? Therefore these curses shall be put upon thine enemies. Or was that 32 and 10? Forget, right? You gotta grab it real quick. Deuteronomy 28, 32, 30 and 7. Daughter. You know, might be there.
The book of Deuteronomy 30 and 7. And the Lord thy power will put all these curses upon thine enemies, and on them that hate thee, which persecute thee.
That's it. So that will be when it's fully complete. The fact that it will be those, like what does it say in Deuteronomy 28? That we will basically be the ones doing the building, the ones that's laying the vineyards, but we ain't drinking. Okay, so that's why in the kingdom we and it's one of the things I think about it sometimes. It's beautiful because we're gonna have spiritual power. We could just manifest it. But where's the fun?
Exactly. Where's the fun in that?
Where's the fun in that? We could just manifest. Oh, I think, like, for instance, Esau, just because we got chariots, don't mean you're gonna just jump on a chariot and get to the land of Israel. Nah. You're going in ships, bro.
Journey.
Boy, you gonna suffer, man. Because that's real quick. 2 Thessalonians 1 and 6. I'll grab Revelation. I don't know what we still got Isaiah 2 on. I'll grab real quick. Revelation. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, you got what you got.
Yep. It says 2 Thessalonians 1 and 6, seeing it is a righteous thing with the Most High to recompense tribulation to them that trouble you.
Now, Esau didn't trouble us. Troubled us greatly, man. So it's a righteous thing for us to recompense that unto you. So we will through the Spirit, right? Because we weren't allowed to. Revelation 18 and 6, reward her even as she rewarded you, and double unto her double according to her works, and the cup which she hath filled to her double, right? So just in the same way, Jake, like you said, walking, right? Jake, they had Jake, even to this day in the prison system, Jake and the chain gangs, right? Walking all chained up with each other, right? We gotta make suffer, man. Scriptures talk about meditate, thine heart shall meditate terrors, right? Why? Because we read it in Daniel 9 and 12, right? No one has basically gone through what we went through, and you had a great part in that, right? And as we've just read in these past 2 precepts, hey, the Lord gives us the okay.
That's right.
The Lord was like, oh, they did that to you? All right, bro. Hey, what do you call it? What's the word? I forget the term, but it's basically like we get given carte blanche to do what we want to do with righteousness, right? Which they putting you in chains, whipping you in the back. That's righteous according to the Most High, right? And that's going to be the least of your what you're going. I only got whipped today. It's been a good day.
Yeah. The
rest of them days, that's it, man. Hey, because you made Jake suffer, man, right? And therefore you gonna suffer, as we just read.
Yeah, it's like he made Jake suffer, man, from since we were little kids.
Oh,
Picking cotton in the field.
Even the Congo. Yeah. King Leopold, yeah, it's Belgium.
Yeah, Belgium, man.
Yeah,
He was a man cutting the hands of the
Yeah, in the Congo, yeah.
cutting their hands because of their parents needing to free the war.
Yeah. And I always say it's like that famous image of the Jake in the doorway, right? He's leaning on the doorway and he's looking at his daughter's hand that's been chopped. But what they don't tell you, right, or rather what's not that common knowledge, is where the rest of his daughter's body was, man. They they ate her, man. They ate her. They chopped off his hand. He's looking at it, and they allegedly from the lady that took the picture in her book, she said they ate the daughter, man. The Edomites ate the daughter. I think she said the mom as well. Both can double verify about. I've looked at it several times. This is it now. It's like with the AI and the way the internet's moving, information that you did want to have available is no longer available anymore. Okay, famine of the word, right? Oh man, son of what's because even what you said from a young age, the precept it talks about basically Esau didn't even have mercy upon the ancient, right? So you'd have a Jake that would just be working till he's dead. And to be fair, let's be real, how far away from the truth is that to this day? You have certain Jakes, man, they just be working and grinding up until their last breath, man.
Even they show in the movies, like a woman will be pregnant.
Yeah.
Working until give birth. If she dies, the master doesn't care. Yeah. That's it.
Yeah, because we were just human resources to this death. Right, I got it. So, real quick, Isaiah 47:6. I was wroth with my people. I polluted mine inheritance and given them into thine hand. But you see, Esau thinks, and that's why really every quote unquote Black History Month, right? He'll talk about when Jake was in captivity, but really he's just talking about when Jake is in captivity, as if to be like lauding himself. Yeah, see, we call them strong now, we call them fast now, but it was a time I used to have them in prison, man. I used to say jump, and he used to say how high. Read, when you look at his tone, that's ultimately the kind of energy he's coming with during that period of time. You know what I'm saying? Certain time, like for instance, if you was the guy back in the day, yeah, man, bro, when I did this, bro, I had every man shook. That's basically how Esau is talking during that period of time, not understanding that no, you didn't take us down. What did we just read? It says, and given them into thine hand. We were given into your hand. Not because you were anything, right? But because we were not. Right? In fact, you are something. You are the sword of the Lord, man. Right? But you're also the only neighbor of the Israelites. How does the rest of that go, man? That's promise no sign of mercy or something like that, man. She's the only neighbor of the Israelites. Given no promise of mercy, man. Right? But he makes it seem like it's because of his power, because no, we were given into your hand because we went up. Like we read that in Marcus 7:19, right? I'll bear the indignation of the Lord because I've sinned against them. But we're in this position because we sin, not because you're great, Esau. Right? So it says, it goes on to say, thou didst show them no mercy. Upon the ancient hast thou very, very heavily laid thy yoke, Salaki. Right? So it didn't matter whether it was a young Jake or it was an old Jake. Like, for instance, you have that picture, man. Bro, I remember the first time I saw it, man, broke my heart, man. It was a little 3-4-year-old, right, picking cotton, man.
Yeah.
Little 3-4-year-old picking cotton. But this is the same guy that today wants to pretend like he's the champion of women and children, man. He ain't stopping Netanyahu killing all of them Palestinians, which we're just reporting the news. Palestine's like 50% children, man.
Bloody man.
Yeah, like you grab that and you still gotta get Isaiah too. Maybe if you ever got a precept.
No.
He was in Isaiah 60.
Isaiah 60 and the 10. And the sons of stranger shall build thy walls, and their kings shall minister unto thee. For in my wrath I smote thee, but in my favor I had mercy on thee.
Yeah, and this is a beautiful thing, man. And this is why this truth is such a comfort. right? Because let's be real, when you speak to, family members or Jakes, in the world or whatever, right, you can see it in their eyes that, yeah, they may talk that good talk of like, yeah, we need to, but you can see they've got no answers, they've got no solution. And when push comes to shove, you can see that they still believe in Esau because they can't see anything beyond this. Yeah, let's be real, all Jakes know that better. Let's be real. You speak to Jake in the street or whatever, what have you, right? You can tell deep down in certain of the things that they say, right, that, yeah, they may not believe that they can act upon certain things. But when you kind of chat to them, it's like, yeah, because these white boys, they're just, these white people, they're just, whatever. But they don't have a belief that they could surpass it. But these scriptures, they allow us to know that, no, we not only can we will surpass Esau. And why will we surpass Esau? Because really, when you read the scriptures, what Daniel 4:17, he's referred to as the basest of men, right? And then you start to understand that, oh, snap, the Lord only has this man in power, right? Just to show his power.
That's it, yeah.
Esau's not even in power for himself. It's just to be like, look, see that guy? Hey, Job said it. But they're those that would, not even have set the dogs on my flock, right? And now they've got power over me, right? And that's just to show the power of the Lord, man, because Esau is the basest of man. And when the Lord opens up your eyes, you start looking at him as such, man. You start really seeing that he's a nobody, man. He's a weasel. Certain times you'll be seeing a Edomite and he'll be with his wife, but even then you're like, is he a Mo?
You don't know if it's his wife or a platonic friend.
You know what I'm saying? Because he's just the basest of men.
Yeah.
The basest of men. You know?
Yeah, and also also it's in prophecy, man. Genesis 25, the elder should serve the younger. Two men of people shall be separated from our bowels, and it says one people should be stronger than the other. The word naturally superior.
In every way. And once again, something like me personally, I try to push. Never let Esau box you into that thing of we're only better athletically and physically, right? Because we're better than you in every way. It's just you have systems in place to basically keep Jake where you want to keep it. And once again, any brothers that's ever worked, in regardless of any position that you work, you'll come up and you'll be like, oh, actually, it would actually benefit the business if we do it this way. And Esau's gonna find a way to gaslight you, to undermine you, to make you think that you don't know what the hell you're talking about.
Or he would take your ideas and claim it
claim it as his, yeah. But still after he undermined you, he's still gonna undermine you. I don't really think we shouldn't be talking about that right now. And then two months later, as what was going into, you see your idea implemented and him getting a pat on the back. You're like, wait there, I said to do that. And then when you say I said to do that, he's gonna gaslight you again. That happened to me once. I was like, yo, I said we should do this like say 2 years ago. Oh no, it wasn't the time then. I was like, this mother.
Yeah. So the image they push out is like you only can do better if you know how to sweat. So this sports.
Exactly.
You have to be physical.
Yeah.
That's how you're gonna be able to thrive in this society.
Exactly.
But they don't show behind the scene. The inventors, the people who are pushing this society going.
And the Jakes that really keep Esau's company running. Because once again, when you work in Esau's company, you're like, yo, what are you guys doing? Right? You're perplexed. You're like, yo, what? What's going on? Right? But that's it. Esau wants to keep Jake in that mind of, we're only good at that. Where it's like, nah, we're the salt of the earth, baby. Hey, what's our surname? Come on. I wish Amon was there. He does it. Come on. Right, Yasha, he prints power, man.
That's an image they show. Apart from being good in sports, they show you, Jake's being degenerate.
Degenerate,
Killing each other on the street, selling drugs to each other. That's the image they've been pushing in using their media.
And the Esau's media is a strong ass weapon, man. because we speak about it, and I'll speak about it regularly, man. It's like when you have these films and it's like an end of the world scenario, who's always saving the day? So was the Edomite.
Yeah.
Even Black Panther, who was saving the day?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So Esau constantly has these. Oh wait, because who saved Samurai? Right? Yeah, he's a J, but ultimately, like, the last samurai, that was my man. He was the guy. All of the other great samurais, they couldn't do it. No, they couldn't save samurais. But but the white man had to come in and save the day, be the last samurai, man.
The gods of Egypt,
He's the gods of Egypt.
everything.
He's always portraying himself in positions where he is the smart, intelligent one. So that is why when you do come and prove to him that you're smarter than him, he gets offended because he's like, wait, I'm the smart one in this equation.
That's it.
But you're not. So let's grab this and then we'll grab Isaiah 2 and then any closing precepts.
May go on in Isaiah 6:11 say, therefore thy gates shall be open continually, they shall not be shut day nor night, that men may bring unto thee the forces of the Gentiles, and that their kings may be brought.
That's it. Bring forth the force of the Gentiles, man. I.e., bring what they have. Right? And then also say, man, you're going to be serving us. Right, and rightfully so, because we keep serving. We've been serving. Right, carry on.
For the nation and kingdom that will not serve thee shall perish. Yea, those nations shall be utterly wasted.
That's it. So we're gonna have as the scripture says in Revelation, the 2nd chapter, right? The Lord's gonna give us power over these nations, man. We're gonna rule them with a rod of iron, right? And they're gonna learn to be in subjection, right? Which is be real. When people, that's what the scriptures say, that every knee shall bow and every tongue shall confess, right? Because when the people see the closing credits of Esau's kingdom, man, they yo. What did Rahab say? Rahab said, we have heard what the Lord did. And she was like, look, man, I don't want that smoke. But what's the upgrade? Right? Revelation 1:7, every eye shall see. Right? So because it's different. Like certain times, right, you might hear something, right? And you be like, yo, that's deep, man. You be like, yo, that's deep. Hey, did that happen? But then when you see it, you're like, yo, that's mad. So every nation is going to learn to bow. They're going to see America's been completely wiped off, right? They're going to see the deliverance in the chariots, what the so-called white man calls the UFOs, right? Strangers with salvation. People are going to be in awe, okay?
End game.
That's it.
Isaiah 2. Back in Isaiah 2 from the top.
The word that Isaiah the son of Amos saw concerning Judah and Jerusalem. And it shall come to pass in the last days of a mountain of the Lord's house.
What is a mountain? A mountain represents a government. Carry on.
That's it. Lord's house shall be established in the top of the mountains and shall be exalted above the hills.
Yeah, which the hills represent the smaller government.
That's it. And all nations shall flow unto it.
That's right.
And many people shall go and say, come ye, and let us go to the mountain of the Lord Yahweh, to the house of the God of Jacob, and he will teach us of his ways.
Right. So they're gonna come willingly, right? Because they're gonna see how we're moving. They're gonna see, yo, the earth is in right. So as we read in Isaiah 14, the whole earth's at rest, everything's blessed. Right now, from that line or whatever, but in general, how does he get people to get on his wavelengths? He comes with the hammer. And he says, look, do it my way or else. Right? Whereas in the kingdom, they're gonna be like, yo, man, that's legit. And certain times, like for instance, if you were into sports or whatever you was into, and then you saw someone that was doing it better than you've ever seen it done, what would you do? You go, yo, bro, how'd you do it like that?
So, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like for instance, you get the analogy. So that's what people are gonna be doing in the kingdom. They're gonna be like, yo, hey, that's legit. Hey, so it's like, your way seems good, especially after coming out of Esau's kingdom. Yeah. Imagine that as an upgrade, right? From this to the kingdom of Israel, right? And then witnessing that, you're gonna be like, okay, we thought Esau was on side. These Israelites, they're on side.
Tupac, yeah, they're gonna be older, you know.
Exactly.
The way men conduct themselves, you know, from the top to the one who
That's it.
I mean, below, you know.
And they're gonna see that everything that Esau taught them was destructive to them, right? You know, we talk about it constantly, but just that upsetting of the natural order of a man above the woman has had so much negative impact on this world, on life, on existence, right? That even in the kingdom, women gonna be like, yeah, we were tripping.
Yeah, they are gonna be,
Like, we were tripping.
they're gonna be happy.
You know,
Women are gonna be happy.
yeah,
Children are gonna be happy. You know, women are gonna be assigned to one man,
that's it.
bearing children. They ain't gonna be no baby mamas. You know,
Oh
like,
yeah,
you know.
think of that, bro.
Yeah.
That's that whole baby, man. That's messed up, man. And even I think about this, even the concept of an ex. That's messed up.
That's messed up. Yeah.
You think
together forever.
in the kingdom, right? Would you call it? You're gonna be walking with your woman, right? And then would you call it? She sees some guy she used to nah.
Nah.
You really think about just how wicked that is.
Yeah.
But that's this kingdom. It's a vexation, and certain times certain times you know you be just walking with her, all of a sudden you just feel like the hand clench, tense up, and it's like, okay, I must be an ex, something
Yeah,
like that.
There you go. Yeah.
But that's wickedness. We're not going to be having any of that in the kingdom, man. Okay, even just thinking about it, ugh.
Don't need a woman. It says that many people shall go and say, "Come ye, and let us go up to the mountain of the Lord, to the house of the God of Jacob, and he will teach us of his ways, and we will walk in his paths. For out of Zion shall go forth the law, and the word of the Lord from Jerusalem."
And what does it say? Because I think when I'm read this precept, I'm just like, yeah, this is like the fulfillment of was it Deuteronomy 4, where it's like this is your wisdom and sight in the nation. This is the fulfillment of that in its entirety, right? Because we're just going to be following the law, and they're going to be seeing the rewards of the nation. Are going to be seeing the rewards of following the laws perfectly.
Yeah. Deuteronomy will be with 28 to 1 to
14. Yeah.
Speak all, the blessing and everything. You know?
Yeah, and then the rest. That's it. Yeah, all the goodness.
That's it. Because righteousness brings peace. It amplifies life.
Yeah,
And it blesses you up.
amplifies life and it maintains life.
That's it.
Right, because the wages of sin is what? Death. Right.
And verse 4, it says, "And he shall judge among the nations, and shall rebuke many people, and they shall beat their swords into plowshares, and their spears into pruning hooks. Nation shall not lift up sword against nation, neither shall they learn war anymore."
And that alone is something to look forward to, man.
People know, that time is people are going to be satisfied with, from what they have. Because everyone is going to have their lands.
No covetousness.
No covetousness. People that are going to produce whatever they're going to produce in their lands. The resources they're going to have is going to be sufficient. Then they're going to be trading with other neighboring nations. So everything is going to be in order. So not like now when Esau saw you have, as you say, in Zimbabwe, you say when before people are outside, you say gold and
it's not.
But now it's whatever Esau saw, I would see, it belonged to him.
Yeah, that's it. And he's trying to find a way to take it. That's it. Hey, you look up we'll close on this, but look up what was it? Banana Republic, right? And then the origins of that term about how basically Esau would go up into Latin America, right? Man killed a whole load of people in Latin America for bananas. Yet Esau wants to throw a banana on the pitch when there's a Jake playing.
And then on top of that, them chemicals they use.
In
the farming of bananas, and destroying, I believe, the people around there. People catching, different diseases.
Yeah. Oh, there's also the one about like avocados. How basically they're using all the fresh water to grow the avocado. So then the people, I think, I don't want to mess it up, but basically people then have like no food, no drinking water, So But yeah, you know, as always, Lord's what I was edifying. Death to this place, man. Can't wait for the Most High to put about an end to this man's kingdom, to our enemies. Right, so we're going close and give all praise to Yahweh, Hashem, Yahushai, Hashem, Kadash. Right, double honor to the apostles, great millstone, all two brothers in the work of the Most High, truth and in sincerity. Shalom, shalom, shalom.